Maloney Gardens, no one was arrested in relation to this gun. The patrolling officers also arrested a 39-year-old Maloney man for disorderly conduct, obstructing police, and resisting arrest. One man is hospitalized following a chopping incident in Diego Martin on Tuesday. Reports say that around 6 p.m. last evening at Rich Plain Road, 34-year-old Jimmy Wallace, a.k.a. Cushy, was liming with friends when an argument began with the suspect, 22-year-old Josiah Gooding. The situation became heated and several persons were able to separate both men who were about to fight. However, Gooding returned with a blade and chopped Wallace on the face before fleeing the scene. The victim was taken to the St. James Medical Facility, where he was treated and transferred to the Port of Spain General Hospital for additional treatment. Investigations continue. The search is on for criminal or criminals who stole a policeman's car from his home on Monday. At around 10:45 p.m. on Monday, the police constable who is attached to the Central Division says he parked and secured his silver Nissan Teda at his home at Monroche Road. However, at around 5:30 a.m. the next day, he discovered it missing. His handcuffs, tactical vest, and belt were all in the car. Overseas, a group of Chinese citizens working and living in Florida is challenging a new law that bans them from buying property in the state. The American Civil Liberties Union, a civil rights group representing the plaintiffs, says the law is unconstitutional and discriminatory. The ban would also impact Chinese Americans and people of Asian descent. The suit says that proponents of the bill have argued it will protect U.S. national security. Finally, Netflix is officially beginning its crackdown on users who share passwords in the U.S. The streaming video company says it is now sending out emails to all U.S. subscribers who share passwords with people outside their households as part of a long-planned move to limit password sharing. To share an account with someone outside a household, a user can transfer a profile to a new membership that they pay for, or else add an additional member to an account for an additional US $7.99 monthly fee. Netflix previously turned a blind eye to password sharing because it was fueling growth. However, last year it says that it was going to crack down on password sharing because it hurts its bottom line. It has previously been estimated that more than 100 million households worldwide share an account. And that was your first look at news in Trinidad and Tobago at 5:55 a.m. on More FM 104.7, sponsored by Amar Rentals Limited. My name is Vernex DeVore. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
With Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith. The Ground Report, the Ground Report.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin.
The Ground Report, the Ground Report.
I would think that there's been very clear that all the employees of Petrotrin will exit the company. All.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle. from the first restaurant in 1968, when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air, they just couldn't resist. And like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. Today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste, and I love it too. The kids can't resist it either. Plus, they have more to enjoy. For me, the Castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TNT.
Sheltech Electronics, Capital Plaza, 11 to 13 Frederick Street, Port of Spain. So you're looking for the best prices in gaming products? Come on down and visit Sheltech Electronics, the gamer's paradise. Get the latest PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch system. Games and accessories. Apple Stream, Roblox cards. Available. Daily clearance items up to 70% off. Pre-order new releases and save 15%. Come on, visit us online at sheltechelectronics.com. Cash in on the bargain. Sheltech Electronics, 11 to 13 Frederick Street, Port of Spain, 627-3757. Cash in on those bargains now.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in here with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with zero down, longer repayment terms, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gearup. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in here with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Drink that's transforming what you expect from a beverage. U-Juice is 100% natural and has the power of red ginseng, turmeric, ginger, and the world's strongest antioxidant, astaxanthin. Your new favorite drink has arrived. U-Juice, en route to the ultimate you.
U-Juice, U-Juice, U-Juice. And when me drink, we got a natural boost.
Arima, the Juve Cooler Experience. Arima, Sunday, 18th June 2023. Arima, your robe is your ticket.
More 104.7, the official station for Arimas.
Trinity Lighting, 123 Western Main Road, St. James. Special on LED bulbs. Purchase 4 LED bulbs for $100, get 2 free. Trinity, they stock a wide variety of electrical supplies and specialize in light bulbs and parts for all your residential, commercial, marine, and medical fixtures. Remember, buy 4 LED bulbs for $100, get 2 free. 628-8373 or 622-6935. Check them out on Facebook, Trinity Lighting, ETC Ltd. Or shop online at trinityetc.com. In the Miami area, contact them at 305-354-2033 or 305-932-0727. Remember, Trinity Lighting welcomes you to their main store, 123 Western Main, St. James.
Welcome to M&M Pharmacy. Strategically located next to Eastside Supermarket in Sangre Chiquito, Sangre Grande. For all your healthcare needs and much more, M&M Pharmacy will give you customer service like no other. Your health is your wealth.
That's right.
Cooking? Reduce your cooking preparation time with Country Gold Limited dry coconut strips. It's all natural, no additives, ready to use. Just blend. No more cutting your hands trying to dig and chip coconuts. Live a healthier lifestyle with dry coconut strips. Get yours today at all Extra Foods groceries nationwide. Look in the frozen section. Also available at Arthur's Place in Balandra. Country Gold Limited dry coconut strips.
Looking to complete your home or business project? Well, the place is Michelin Hardware. We carry a large selection of roofing and plumbing supply, lumber, steel, water tanks, tools, and more. Get your sand, gravel, sand filled by the bag, yard or load. No one beats our prices. Visit us at M&R Building, number 97, Eastern Main Road, Aruka, or call 646-2144. WhatsApp 327-7761. Michelin Hardware.
96 degrees. Present Ladies in White. On Saturday, May 27th at Moonlighting Pub, Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna. Featuring the master of the old school, Hitman Howie T.
I'm on fire.
Future Sound.
This is not a pet in here, this is madness.
Curtis, 96 degrees.
Darling, I feel the disco.
And DJ Witty.
Prizes for the best dressed male and female.
Johnny, you come inside of this party.
Advance tickets, $80. Available at Bobby's Bar, La Luna's Bar, and Moonlighting Pub. At the door, you pay more. 104.7, the official station. Ladies in White. Saturday, the 27th of May.
Shiny and Ari Restaurant, number 67, Western Main Road, St. James, opposite Standard. For breakfast daily, Monday to Sunday, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. On the menu, sada roti, Friday, roast beef, pie, coffee, tea, Milo, vegetable pizza, pancakes with assorted vegetables. Lunch specials daily from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Chicken pilau, $25. Assorted lunch from $25 to $40. Soup specials and crab and dumpling. Delivery of food available. Dinner a la carte on the pavement from 6 p.m. until burgers, chicken sandwich, hot dog, fries and chicken, nuggets, shrimp burger, gyros, and anything else you can think about. Call 382-9347 to place your orders 7 days a week.
Free Up Fridays with Eminem and DJ Christian. Live each and every Friday at the Neighborhood Grill and Bar, 143 Seaview, Clifton Hill, Point Fortin. For your reservations, call 352-1727.
Are you there?
Eminem will capture you with her sultry voice, each and every note.
Every Friday, it's a movie
At the Neighborhood Grill and Bar, Clifton Hill, Point Fortin.
Green Dot continues to deliver internet connectivity to a wide range of communities in Trinidad. With our combination fiber and wireless network, you get the service you need wherever you live. Stream your favorite shows, enjoy online tuition, stay in touch with your work team, and connect with friends and family with internet service at a price you can afford. As communities continue to grow, we continue to deliver. Call 224-GDOT or visit gd.tt today. Green Dot, improving and simplifying lives.
Everybody's idea of home is different, so every mortgage should be unique, shaped around you, flexible to move and change as you do. RBC will come to you to get you started and stay by your side to help guide you every step of the way. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story and start your story today. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at RBC Caribbean.
Are you or your company, school, sporting community, or religious group planning an event? Look no further. The Jump and Bump Rental Company is your one-stop event management specialist. Jump and Bump is a full-service events management and marketing company specializing in fun and rejuvenating festivities. At Jump and Bump, our team is innovative and experienced event management professionals focused on taking your event from concept to production. We boast not only the largest inflatables, but also the largest supply of inflatables in Trinidad and Tobago. For more information, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at J&B Rentals.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Disclaimer. More FM Limited, its owners and associates, accepts no responsibility for statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests. More FM Limited does not endorse any of the information provided during this commercially booked segment as the truth. That you have to judge for yourself. We, however, reserve the right to question statements made. But in this time of misinformation, government-controlled media, and corruption, it is sometimes hard to get the truth. But we must try. It is not our intention to discriminate or annoy anyone. We believe it is our constitutional right to free speech, to voice our opinion, and our duty to the population and country to expose the truth. More FM Limited takes no responsibility for the opinions of others.
6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Join Andy Williams, Michael Kerr, and Lennox Smith, the Ground Report team on M1047 as they rip apart the lies, half-truth, and misinformation that the mainstream media never discuss. The Ground Report. Hard-hitting, informative, undiluted, uncompromising, and unfiltered. Monday to Friday on M104.7 FM. Get the raw facts before making any life-changing decisions. Only on The Ground Report.
Yes, indeed. A very good morning to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, and Prince and Tobago. And wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. This is, yes, the Thursday edition of the Ground Report. Of course, Andy will join us in a while. And we expect, of course, Andy, Mikey, of course, to join us as well. But that being as it may, the fact of the matter is that news that we have always known would have been inevitable, one. And two, it is not, or should I say, it has become very common for us to apologize for being accurate, for being positive as well as analytically able to, of course, assess the situation in Trinidad and Tobago to the point where there could be hardly any kind of questioning the veracity of what we have been saying over the past, 8 years and more, have always turned out to be an impossible task in terms of persons trying to refute what the Ground Report has been saying and doing. And of course, when that doesn't work for them because they cannot, of course, refute, they then take action that would that essentially attempts to emasculate and to limit our voice and limit our ability to speak. I myself have been a victim of that at the highest level of government, even threatening this very radio station with, of course, the taking of its license, if, of course, a certain information that is in the public domain, verifiable, and, of course, is also subjected if people are offended to the legal ramifications and legal action that they can also take. But we notice that instead of that, they use roundabout and circumlocutive and all kinds of shenanigans, all kinds of deflection in order for us to shut up, in other words. So today is another day when I have to report, we have to report that once again the Ground Report was and is in fact correct. We told you only yesterday that the government must call elections before December. Must. They have to. And in spite of all of the deflection, in spite of all of the illusions, in spite of all of the innuendos, in spite of all of the hyperboles and the grandiloquent and the magniloquent language that suggested that somehow this lame duck administration, and that too is a pellucid fact, Rowley is at the head of our lame duck administration, an administration that has no qualms in imposing itself on the people when in fact all the evidence shows that they have exhausted their presence as a government in the country, and they are still attempting, of course, to inveigle or torment the tolerance of the people. But at the end of the day, as we always said, it is a criminal enterprise organization that has morphed into something that is inimical to the interests of Trinidad and Tobago. We have said that the existential threat to the democracy and the of course advancement of Trinidad and Tobago is the Rowley administration in government. And of course, because they have up to 2025 maximum, they would of course attempt to stay on and be in our faces. The anathema of the people, therefore, would continue. That is to say, the hatred of the people, just in case that term is not understood. The anathema, the hatred of the people, continues, of course, to deepen. And at the end of the day, like Tobago, Trinidad, of course, will respond appropriately and jettison, meaning get rid of, annihilate, and certainly take Trinidad and Tobago to the next level without a PNM administration. And we expect we will have to continue to work, because they're going to try to absorb themselves in the post-PNM, post-Rowley era, because one expects that there will be a plethora of criminal activities against members of this government at the highest level, at the ministerial level. One would expect that there will also be civil action taking place as well at the highest level of this administration once it is out of office. And it is clear that it is using its lame duck disposition, its twilight in office, its almost exhaust presence in the politics and in the governance of this country, or should I say maladministration or misgovernment or misgovernance of this country. And they're going to use it, of course, to try to salvage as much as they can and absorb themselves of the avalanche of criminal and civil actions that are inevitably waiting for them. Waiting for them. No evil act against a people who have reposed so much trust and so much faith. And then, of course, all of that being betrayed by a group of individuals who said that they were here to do better. Remember that cliche, that refrain in 2015, when Dr. Rowley said that, of course, if it is that you get up on the 8th of September and your circumstances is the same, meaning that he was saying that in spite of the utopia, comparatively speaking, of course, in spite of the good life that Trinidad and Tobago was experiencing before the advent of Rowley on the 8th of September 2015, if your circumstances is the same, you will be doing a disservice to yourself. Well, indeed, it has now been proven that we have done a disservice to ourselves by, of course, taking seriously Dr. Rowley and his ludicrous and clearly fantasy and phantom and illusionary escapades and language and utterances to the point where in the last election 2020, he even had to refer, even though, of course, the people in the southwestern peninsula, some 60-something thousand persons, directly and indirectly would have been affected by the closure of Petrotrin, a major employer and a source of income and sustenance for the people in that particular part of the country, when he had to revert, of course, to monkey and banana in order, of course, to get the upper hand in the 2020 elections. And even that, just as that of the 2015 election, both of them are questionable, having regard to the input of attempting to undermine the electoral process. In 2015, he, of course, made an intervention to have the time of voting extended by 1 hour. The local, of course, legal, not legal, but judicial fraternity said that it was illegal, yet still the status quo would have remained. And then, of course, his pernicious and poisonous hands in 2020, not allowing, of course, our right to, of course, accept independent observers in this country and give us some kind of cock and bull story, some kind of cacophonous babblings, some kind of square peg and wrong hole statement that because of COVID, a person weren't able to come here, when in fact when we checked with respect in particular to the Commonwealth Secretariat sending independent, and of course went on to tell us here, Rowley, that they didn't have the money. And of course, that we know now would have been an impossibility, because £1, one of their dollar, in other words, is equal to 10 to 11 Trinidad and Tobago dollars. So that by itself tells you that it was a fake, it was a falsehood, it was a deception, it was an attempt, of course, to further impose themselves on the country without accountability and transparency, and with the presence of foreign observers. What transpired in 2020 could not have been as successful as it was and is for this administration to stay in government. They would have known, for example, the discovery of ballot papers in certain parts of the country. They would have observed that the EBC, soon after that election, organized the recruitment of a particular company well known to Rowley and Imbert and the PNM. I'm talking about Grand Bay, that toilet paper company that received early in the administration's tenure, in the first stint at the wheel, so to speak, and that is $5 million was allocated for them to sustain or to keep their employees. So we know that there's a nexus, and that's the same company that was deployed by the EBC subsequently to recycle, in other words, destroy permanently all evidence that would have been required if a fervent or insistent of inquiring into the outcome of the last elections, 2020, would have been initiated by any investigative authority. So we know what this government is all about. It is about undermining and staying in government in order to not only do us harm, but of course to stay there by unfair means. And that is something that has to be addressed on this occasion. And that brings me immediately, as I started by saying, that it is no gainsay for us to constantly say that we told you so. And of course, once again, we said that elections must be called before December, consequential of the ruling of the Privy Council. And Dr. Rowley could jump high, he could jump low, he could pretend that is not a crisis, but we would have had a crisis if it was not for the vigilance and the tenacity and the insistence, and with resources, of course, and the intellectual capacity of the opposition, the Kamala Persad-Bissessar UNC opposition in Trinidad and Tobago. We would have been none the wiser, and Dr. Rowley would have gotten away with undermining our electoral process once again. But in this case, not during an election, but before an election, by, of course, going to the parliament and attempting, of course, to involve and to engulf and intertwine a new system that was proposed for 4 years and make it look as though it would have started with the 3-year stint of the incumbent or the present group of councillors. Well, the Privy Council made it very clear. And of course, just as the Attorney General, a most asinine, a most puerile, a most obtuse, a most inane attempt to give a logic that clearly defies common sense, when Dr. Rowley reiterated what the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago would have said, a man who clearly does not deserve the SC or the senior counsel or the silk that he, of course, acquired. We know now that it's because he's associated with a group of individuals who clearly are reckless, ruthless, and of course have not been able to properly ideate or rationalize policies and programs, and always turns out to be inimical to the interests of the people. All of the major policies of this government since 2015 has always turned to the biblical pillar of salt. In other words, no good and inimical to the interests of the people at all times. Every single one. You name it, I can challenge every single sycophant, any member of the government, to come and expose yourselves and say who you are on the ground report, and we will have a healthy debate as to whether or not any of their policies have benefited Trinidad, any of the major policies have benefited Trinidad and Tobago so far. So therefore, the utopia that we were promised by Dr. Rowley when he said that if on the 8th of September back in 2015, your circumstances will be the same, you are doing a disservice. The utopia that he promised has turned out to be a dystopia. Only pain, hate, agony, and retrogression. But let's get to the present circumstance. Dr. Rowley was in the parliament yesterday and boldfacedly and shamelessly telling us it is not a crisis. Just imagine if the UNC had allowed things to run. The level of crisis that we would have experienced is unfathomable. And at this stage, we don't want to focus there. What we want to focus is the way forward now. They have confessed that they did in fact try to usurp the authority and the legitimacy of the electorate, you and I, to elect the next set of councillors. Let's not waste time with that. They have accepted that as a fact. Secondly, they have, as we indicated, of course, since Monday, that this government ought to have had or called elections for local government since March of this year, because the Privy Council said so, and that the life of the current group of councillors came to an end in December last year. The Privy Council said so. And of course, the Attorney General all that time in this first salvo to try to hoodwink and deceive and to generate an illusion that doesn't exist. We see now that at the end of it all, Rowley had to come yesterday in the parliament and confess and, of course, say that in 90 days' time, meaning that by August, local government elections will be held in Trinidad and Tobago. I want to say kudos to the opposition and those of you, because you know I have a slightly different view to those who are saying that there is an imperative for mass demonstrations all over the country. No, that is the ultimate. Yes, that is the preferred. But if it doesn't exist, it doesn't mean that we must crawl and we must grovel and we must argue and we must be disappointed. No, there are other ways. And of course, the ground report has led the way in terms of the pushback movement. And when we saw that we were getting obstacles as far as the commissioner, as far as the level of the commissioner of police is concerned, and of course, those persons who are lower down the ranks of the police service, making certain and crossing every T and dotting every I as far as the parameters of public marches is concerned. We have now, of course, found another way, and that is the level of creativity in defense of our democracy, in defense of our country, in defense of our independence, in defense of the rule of law, in defense of the separation of powers, in defense of our democratic institutions and those institutions that are supposed to be very, very significant in terms of ensuring the checks and balances, such as, of course, those commissions, those institutions that have been developed, recognized by the Constitution of this country, to act independently. And we have seen a brutal infiltration. And of course, the classic example would be the Police Service Commission. And of course, that didn't stop Dr. Rowley from his pursuit of attempting to generate a dictator or an autocratic state of affairs in Trinidad and Tobago, because his recent pronouncement that these independent commissions ought to be done away with is a clear example of an organization attempting, of course, having morphed into a criminal enterprise to try to find ways and means of legitimizing and rendering null and void and of no effect the multiple ills and illegal acts that they would have committed at the level of the cabinet itself, at the level of state enterprises, and at the level of their policies and programs and initiatives that have been rolled out against the interests of the people, but serving their own narrow and self-serving agendas to, of course, dominate and to deplete the treasury in their own interests and not in the interests of the general good for which they were elected, all of them, and for which the population, you and I, must now ensure that not only must it not continue, or put another way, it must discontinue, but we must also be very, very vigilant as we move forward, as the government has no choice but to execute the will of the Privy Council, having regard to the judgment that was, of course, stated. And I cannot overemphasize the role of the opposition in one fell sweep. They have shown how effective and how strategic they have been. And so what transpired there recently is equal to the many, as far as I'm concerned, the many protests that we would have been engaged in, stymied and, of course, interfered with by the law enforcement agencies to the point where we were tear gassed. 30-something of us were, of course, charged under the then Public Health Act in relation to COVID, and all kinds of excuses, including, of course, going to San Fernando and indicating that we are on a religious pilgrimage there. We weren't allowed to march, and we were given 90 minutes to, of course, conclude a procession with some 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 persons descending on Horace Promenade then. But again, evil cannot prevail when you have good people at the helm. When we have good people who are saying to the government and those who wish to do evil by abusing their offices, we must find ways and means, creative ways. And of course, you will hear more about it. I told you yesterday, and of course, Andy and Mikey will lead the charge as far as the question of delivery of letters of extreme concern. And in those circumstances, there is no need to deliver a letter by asking, of course, the Commissioner of Police to assist us in that. No, there's no need. In fact, as you know, the last one was delivered to the Commissioner of Police herself, and there's nothing that she could have done with respect, of course, but preventing persons from assisting us in the delivery of those correspondence to them, expressing our deep concern. Of course, prior to that, it would have been, of course, the DPP. What is common with respect to this exercise is that we will assemble on the promenade opposite, of course, Express, so that we get the media first and foremost alerted as to what is going to happen, and then, of course, we do what we have to do in defense of our democracy, in defense of making certain that this marauding bunch of opportunistic political parasites under a mafia-type operation exit office as expeditiously, as quickly, and with a high degree of alacrity to get out of our faces and let us breathe a sigh of advancement and development as we had experienced under the period 2010 to 2015 by an administration or a party that clearly is people-centered, and by its execution as opposed to this particular crop of individuals. We have seen that they are humane and that they are prepared, of course, to advance Trinidad and Tobago with all and sundry, of course, each getting their fair share based on their respective abilities and their calling, so to speak. So I thought it was important this morning, having gotten the opportunity. Andy will join us in a while. I am going to listen for his, of course, signal, and then, of course, I will hand over. In the meantime, let me reiterate that Rowley had no choice, and the talk in the Parliament about is no crisis, and that there is no constitutional breach and so on. Well, what the hell do you mean by no constitutional breach when the Privy Council said in no uncertain terms that to have created a piece of legislation like that, and that is how dictators do it, and they talk like Dr. Rowley, there's no crisis, we are doing it in your interest. But when they get caught, they then, of course, they then go back to the default and say that it is in your interest, yes, but somehow explaining in a convoluted way that they made a mistake. But the reality is that the Privy Council said that the government, by declaring that particular piece of legislation, the postponing of the local government elections to December, in fact, attempted to usurp. I put in attempted because I'm being generous to some extent, but it is disgusting. It is egregious. It is wicked. It is dangerous. It is pernicious. It is unacceptable. But the Privy Council said that to do that is to usurp, is to take over, is to supplant the role of the electorate, you and I, to determine in a self-respecting democracy, in a representative democracy, in a country that has respect for the rule of law. And therefore, democracy here is government, and let me emphasize, by the people, of the people, and for the people. And Dr. Rowley and they deliberately infringed that because they negotiated. And why? It's very simple. The elephant in the atmosphere ought to be very recognizable to all, that their political stocks have been weighed, that they are deteriorating, and that they have been deteriorating, and that they came out of a curtail from Tobago, and because of the proximity of the elections, that elections in Tobago and the one that was supposed to be, at least according to the Privy Council judgment, executed in March of this year, 2 months ago, they decided, of course, to get some kind of advantage by delaying so that they could roll out their various attempts to bribe and to, of course, hoodwink the people. Well, the Lord moves in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. Whether you call it karma or you call it, of course, poetic justice, the fact of the matter is that external to all of us, an entity far off across the Atlantic Ocean, in, of course, the United Kingdom, and, of course, recognized as the highest court in Trinidad and Tobago, the government now has no choice but to say to us when elections will be called within, of course, the parameters of existing legislation that would, of course, and in particular, the Representation of the People's Act, to, of course, call elections before December of this year. Otherwise, if the government had gotten its way, not only would they have an extra year, a whole year until December, but elections would have been called around March of next year, 2024. Understand that would have been the implications. And therefore, the fact that the Privy Council has made their pronouncement and have made their judgment, and the government has no choice but to implement. And I'll tell you, they have done so, I say so, without fear of contradiction. They have done so reluctantly, reluctantly. If they had their own way, they never, of course, call election or acknowledge or admit that they were wrong in the parliament. I say so very, very firmly, and I am convinced that they would not have, because it would not have been in their interest to call it so early, having regard, of course, to their pernicious intent to get an unfair advantage at the polls by, of course, laying out, as they did in Tobago, a third of the budget of 2023 was actually dedicated to Tobago. And as soon as they lost the election there, 14-1, they decided now to pull out some of the projects out of Tobago with their vindictive selves. So we know very well what they are capable of doing and how they would profligately utilize our resources only to stay in office, to do us harm and evil. And only yesterday as well, you heard, of course, the Minister of Finance talking about he's going to now pay $7 billion in VAT owing to businesses, but only businesses with a 200,000 threshold will be paid cash, and the others will be paid in bonds in terms of their difference if it is more than 200 million. But that kind of talk, again, is part and parcel of the work plan of this administration to deceive, to hoodwink, and to lure you into a sense of temporary relief as they try to, of course, project that they are amenable and they listen to the people and that they are law-abiding. And I say to you that if that decision did not take place, they would not have come to the realization, because the UNC and the opposition was saying that all the time, that they engaged in an illegal act. And you heard them, you heard them, you see them, you understand what they have been saying. They were rubbishing, of course, the position of the UNC, and even at the level of the appeal court in Trinidad, they continue to believe. And even in this late stage and post facto, the decision of the Privy Council, you hear them talking about the 3 judges in Trinidad and the 2 that dissented in the Privy Council in England, and somehow that is some kind of victory for them. I mean, clearly, you know that they were never going to, of course, do the right thing, and they have to be forced by external forces in order to treat with that. But you and I, internally, must continue, of course, our disapprobation, our disapproval, and our consistent attempt to preserve our democracy by protesting, if necessary, every single day. I keep saying that, and every week. And so this week is no exception, as we make the country understand that we have a marauding bunch of opportunistic political parasites who are only about themselves and their greedy imposition to empty the treasury and to, of course, generate nepotism and cronyism at every level, inclusive of attempting, of course, to degenerate Trinidad and Tobago into a mediocrity state by their conduct and the way how they have dealt with education and scholarships, etc. I don't need to read and spell to you. I think we have done enough for you to be conscious. What we have to do, of course, is to put things in perspective and paint the whole picture for you, so you know that when you go to the polls, you have no choice but to act in your own best interest, and your best interest also includes future generations. It also includes you vote either for an increase or a reduction in the crime and criminality, or put another way, young people gravitating to a life of crime. That is what is at stake. I want to tell young people who are 18 years and just come out of school, you have a country to save. Your job is to go and register now because you have the opportunity now in time for local government elections. Dr. Rowley has all but just did not call the date, but we know elections will be in August. And therefore you have a duty and responsibility, you 18 years, whether you are in Diego Martin, whether you are in Carenage, whether you are in Laventille, whether you are in and around Port of Spain, whether you are in Laventille, of course, I must mention that, whether you are in Beetham, whether you're in Silat, whether you're in Chumakak, whether you're in Tonopuna, whether you are in Toko, or whether you are in any one of the communities in between, Arima, etc., you need to do what is required. Those in the south as well, San Fernando, of course, throughout the central belt and the far southern parts of the country, La Brea and Point Fortin, you need to understand what is at stake at this point in time. Dr. Rowley cannot glibly and, of course, superficially and superfluously make statements that says that it is not a crisis and that nobody tells them that they try to infringe the Constitution. That boat has already sailed, and the horses have already bolted out of the stables, and he cannot convince anyone of anything differently. Otherwise, they would not have been so strident. They would not have been so strident in, of course, in insisting and attempting, of course, to deflect attention from the reality. And I'll tell you something, finally here, the major reason for them having to come and confess and speak with a high degree of specificity in terms of their iniquities and the fact that this was untenable in a democracy is simply because of the international and regional focus on Trinidad and Tobago. And of course they will highlight and see Trinidad and Tobago's government as a criminal enterprise. That is why, basically, because when he made a statement, he then turned to the leader of the opposition and said, stop bad-mouthing Trinidad. Why do you think he said that? It's because he doesn't want further emphasis to be placed on his government for attempting to usurp and undermine the democratic principle, which, of course, has him where he is under questionable circumstances, of course, because it was an election that was triggered, or elections that were triggered in order to have him there, but of course was prepared to make intervention to undermine and to usurp and to pollute the entire process, and he must not be forgiven for that. There must be total animosity. There must be total strident disgust with this administration. The anathema of the people must be felt not just here, but in the region and in the hemisphere and across the globe. And this is so-called pseudo international status that he felt that he had to capitalize upon must be neutralized by, of course, us telling Howard University who Rowley really is, and of course write to Biden as well, and of course, and we would be doing our part here on the ground report and people to choose their elected representatives, and that is what is at stake today. And we must, of course, salvage, and we must be dedicated to, of course, the resuscitation of not only the economy and not only, of course, the quality of life. If we do not stop now and, of course, reverse this tragedy that is the PNM and Rowley in our public spaces and governance and government, then, of course, Crapo smoke our respective and collective pipe. And I believe those are some of the areas that I would want to address on that specific matter. And there is more people, but I will leave it there and just note some of the issues that are at hand today. Of course, the TSTT CEO, retrenchment of 468 saves $12 million. That is the kind of hogwash, that is the kind of deflection that they will tell you. That come out of the playbook of Dr. Rowley himself. They will tell you how much they save. What they cannot tell us is what they did with the money. Having said, is it that TSTT now provides a better service? Obviously, the unanimous position is no. So if you're saving $12 million, one expected that there will be something on the other side of it. What benefits it to be derived for the people? You cannot tell us, but they save 12 million. That is psychological, what I consider to be psychological baiting. Psychological baiting, just as Dr. Rowley, he will of course raise bait and so on when he used the banana and monkey scenario. That is called pseudo racism, where you use your own race for your own personal advancement, and the few of them. Of course, I had to give the definition just in case, of course, like Ken Gordon, just in case he takes me to court, as Ken Gordon did it to Basdio Pandey when Pandey called him a pseudo-racist. Of course, the court found it so ridiculous. They tell Pandey to pay Gordon $1. But that being as it may, the fact of the matter is that is the reality of Trinidad and Tobago today. Of course, Imbert is saying $7.8 billion in VAT refund, and of course, immediately, that statement tells me that they are in a dire strait in terms of resources, because there's two things that attracted my attention yesterday in that debate. One, the VAT refund solution, and of course that of property tax. And what it tells me from the first statement, 7-point-something billion, is that here it is. We are talking about 8 billion windfall. Remember that? They told us 8 billion windfall, for which Trinidad and Tobago didn't work. They did nothing to improve our financial circumstance. They did nothing. But of course, it was as a result of the accident of the war between Russia and Ukraine. Remember that? And we got, of course, for an increase in the price of a barrel of oil, doubled, we got that benefit. But of course, these days, the price of a barrel of oil and of course gas as well is now being reduced. So therefore, they find themselves back to square one, and they are trying of course to irk as much as they can out of the population, and that's typical dictatorial tendencies, as well as people who are devoid of creativity and the inability to treat with the country's problems and issues, never prepared, and was never able to treat with the multiple problems of Trinidad and Tobago, irregardless of the situation. And then of course we have, so that $8 billion came to my mind immediately, and the fact that they would not add a cent or a percentage to the 4% for public servants. Then of course it was the PM who said Caridoc not for sale. Well, when Dr. Rowley says not for sale, bet your bottom dollar it is for sale. You know what I say? When he tell you jump, you know you have to stand up. So there's something sinister in all of that. They sent home, of course, some 90 for 90 days a couple, I think there's 100 and something workers. Yes, send them home, right? So clearly they are preparing for something sinister and something of a sale. And therefore, when Dr. Rowley speaks, you know you have to go in the opposite direction. He tells you go east, you know you have to go west, because there is always something sinister, evil, diabolical, and not in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago will emerge from that. So don't be surprised that corridor, that forlorning of those workers, telling them to stay home for 90 days. I don't know what you could achieve in 90 days time. That is 3 months. That is the same time that they will have to we'll have to have elections in Trinidad and Tobago, courtesy the demand and the judgment of the Privy Council. And then, of course, government on alert for requests from Guyana. Guyana doesn't want any assistance from Trinidad. That is mere public relations nonsense. And I want Amory Brown to stop trying to hoodwink Guyanese and Trinbagonians that, listen, you stand by to do what? They don't want any assistance from you. Maybe if we had the burns unit that the Couva Hospital was supposed to be specializing in, because we have our own industries here that could, God forbid, generate a kind of conflagration that will cause people to be incinerated or burnt. Then I could understand that, but you have scuttled that as well, forgetting, of course, that Point Lisas is there in close proximity, and therefore such a specialized unit is needed. So what's going to happen is that the Guyanese will send their people to the United States or some other country, not in Trinidad, because we do not have the specialized and repetition for, of course, treating with burns, simply because you were myopic. Your government, the Rowley administration, was myopic and destructive, and therefore that overture is mere public relations more than anything else. So people don't be fooled by that overture made by this fella. Guyanese don't need that assistance, and they have rejected assistance in the past. Even when they had the flooding, they told Rowley to keep his water and whatever it is that he wanted to send to Guyana. So we are clear about that. Government are ready for property tax. Yes, this is the other burning issue, of course, and Imbert has announced, and we told you resist those requests put in the mail. We told you that so we could delay as much as possible the implementation of this dastard and evil act that Rowley said was in fact dastard and evil when he was on the podium in 2015 attempting to hoodwink the people. I said attempting now because he could no longer do it, so I could say that now. But then he hoodwinked them into by saying that tax was dastard, it was irrelevant, it was evil, and he is on Hansard in the Parliament in 2009 or between 2008 and 2009, opposing property tax, as Manning attempted to unleash that tax on the people of the country. And then, of course, you had the axe the tax scenario that created the departure of international representatives, those emissaries from the various countries of the world, ambassadors and high commissioners. And he said in no uncertain terms that they will not interfere with subsidies, and because the effect of that will cause a burning up of resources, inflation, and all of the other things, as people rely on their single salary in order, of course, to, and not moving salary, single, not moving salary, in order to still eke out a living with the salary that they would have had. He mentioned all of that, and he understood all of that, and he said, of course, as Kamala Prasad-Bissessar was saying, that when, of course, oil prices rise, the subsidies rise, and when it falls, subsidies fall. Well, of course, all of that happened during the course of this administration over the last 8 years, and not one opportunity was taken to, of course, reduce the cost of fuel at the pumps. And I want to say they introduced another shenanigan, another deception, and that is to say, when of course prices would rise, they would of course leave the price at the pump to market forces. Big talk, and at the end of the day, increase by percentage the price of gasoline and other commodities that will cause industry to of course move, but hopefully efficaciously. But with this government, more expense to the businessman, but of course the government takes no responsibility. And today the prices have fallen and we have seen no evidence. The opportunity ought to have been taken when he was talking and rolling out, of course, property tax, and of course telling people over $7 billion being owed to in VAT to businessmen. One would have expected that he would have said in no uncertain terms that the price of fuel at the pump would be reduced, inconsistent with what they told us and what the expectation of the people would have been. But instead, as usual, when they tell you go right, you know you have to go left, because it's blatant and unadulterated lies and deception. So I am very, very convinced. So again, but he tells us in the parliament that 232,000 homes were assessed, and that of course has passed the threshold that the court, and thanks again to Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC, as they tried earlier in their administration to trick the population into of course accepting property tax, when in fact Rowley was saying is the most wicked and the most evil thing. Not one of his constituents at the time in the parliament, in his contribution to the debate on that measure back in 2009, when he said that not one member of his constituents or his constituency could afford $100 increase. And mind you, at that time, 2008, it was the most amount of money by way of our main commodities, oil, gas, and petrochemical, that brings in, of course, foreign exchange into the country, the most amount ever passed through this country. He was saying that the people couldn't afford $100. Now, after COVID, now after pre-COVID, and the inability to expand our economy, and now post-COVID, the economy has further emasculated, save for of course these nuances and other things that one could attribute the UNC for, including of course the fact that they invested heavily and provided incentive to upstreamers between 2013 and 2014, and by 2016-17 the PNM was the beneficiary of increased oil and increased gas. But they would not give the UNC the credit. They will give themselves and pat themselves and say the economy has turned around. A bunch of illusionary and dastard and criminals that we could ever find in any democracy. So I am very, very, very convinced that this administration needs not to call a local government election as demanded by and only because demanded by the Privy Council. Dr. Rowley cannot try to use obfuscations and of course semantics, as well as being specious and using sophistry and being most insidious in terms of attempting to make you believe it's no big thing. It is a big thing. It is a big thing, people. A government attempting to usurp your right to vote, as we saw in 2015 and 2020, is in fact a significant development. People die for wanting to have the opportunity to exercise their franchise and determine who must rule them. Rowley wants to stay in a lame duck administration, in of course the office of Prime Minister, and then of course manipulate the system so that they get an unfair advantage, and then say that that is democracy. No, we have a duty and responsibility not only to eject, not only to annihilate, but to render the PNM as an institution to the dustbin of political history in this country. Our children and our children's children are supposed to be reading about them and all of the iniquitous acts that would have caused them to be relegated to history as opposed to being an active political entity. Their viability has come to an end. And we as a people, consistent with democracy, consistent with our right as citizens, to not only analyze and make observation, but also to recognize that if Trinidad and Tobago continues with a marauding bunch of opportunistic political parasites like these, then it means that therefore Crapo once again smoke our pipes. In other words, we are going to be in the doldrums, and of course the rest of the region will be laughing at us because we were supposed to lead office before we know the true facts. 500 times recusing, and Dr. Rowley will simply say, without compunction and without understanding the difference between right and wrong, and what is appropriate and what is with morals and values and the traditional values that we were grown up upon, and doing things that is right, but instead he takes wrong and try to make it look as though it is right. Nowhere in the Caribbean, nowhere in the Commonwealth, nowhere in any self-respecting democracy you have a situation where members of the cabinet, government ministers, recusing themselves 100 times and 50 times, and Rowley himself, so far we know, 8 times himself. That is a mafia enterprise. That is not a government, and therefore we must understand that they have to pay attention, one, and have no apology when we go to the polls whenever it is called in August to do right to ourselves and to the people of Trinidad and Tobago by extension. Of course, the people, let me just intervene once again by saying that I expect Andy to be on in a while. I am just holding on. He is engaged elsewhere, and I'm waiting for the signal. Trinidad! I end my conversation, or should I say a conversation is true? Well, of course, my monologue with you.
Nice.
Boy, you listen, boy. Oh gosh, boy, you're a wicked man, boy.
Nah, but you're going good. You're breaking down the whole issue of this local government that in real, it hadn't been the Privy Council, and had they not reached there, the opposition, if they had not reached there, the government would have never done this. They would have go about doing business as they please. So the play,
crisis.
Exactly. So it already had a verdict. All right. Well, it's me to talk now. Sorry,
all
right.
Well, I was taunting you. I was hoping that you would come in. So now that you're coming, I could conclude now. People, I hand over to Andy now. He will do what he has to do, and of course, the other things that I may have left up. Of course, I'm open for questions and or inquisition, if you want to call it that. Yes, my friend. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning to you. Oh boy.
In the Senate on Tuesday, Attorney General Reginald Amore sought to address concerns expressed by some elected local government representatives about the Privy Council's ruling last week that the extension of the life of the nation's 14 municipal corporations by 1 year did not apply to the incumbent councillors and aldermen.
There is a well-known doctrine known as the doctrine, the de facto officers' doctrine of great vintage going back to the 1730s, established by, among others, the case of Scadden and Laurent. And that decision establishes that there is validity in the actions of the officers who were duly elected and continue to be duly elected until the decision of the Privy Council. There's no cause for concern.
The AG was responding to an urgent question on the matter raised by independent Senator Dr. Paul Richards.
Even with the doctrine of necessity considered as the government intended to bring legislation to remedy any potential situation created by the actions subject to the decision of the Privy Council judgment last Thursday.
Attorney General. Thank you, Mr. President. As I've said in answer to the Honourable Senator, this matter will be addressed by the Honourable Prime Minister tomorrow in the House of Representatives.
The Leader of Opposition Business in the Senate, Wade Mark, posed a follow-up question.
Is the government furthering its illegality with each passing day without informing this honourable House on the legal way forward? Can you clear the air for all the Burgesses who are very concerned about this ruling by the Privy Council?
Attorney General. Thank you, Mr. President. Let me put out of the question immediately that the government is not perpetuating any illegality. There is no illegality occurring.
Last Thursday, after the Privy Council's ruling, the Attorney General said that he would be seeking the advice of local senior counsel before advising the Prime Minister and the Cabinet on the matter, which included the issue of when the next local government election should be called, a decision he had said that is ultimately up to the Prime Minister.
The government has observed the Privy Council decision dated 18th of May 2023. It intends to follow the law as it always has and always will, and will take all actions according to law.
Senator Mark sought clarification on the issue of the day-to-day operations of the municipal corporations.
Can you indicate to the Parliament, to the Senate, what will happen to, let's say, contractors who have to collect garbage in various corporations, given this recent ruling and given what you have just indicated?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. All questions coming out of the decision of the Privy Council, which was handed down on the 18th of July of May 2023, will be addressed by the Honourable Prime Minister tomorrow in the House of Representatives.
Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
Wow, wow, wow.
Just imagine that.
Besides that, Trinidad and just now, Lennox, I'm trying to just start off. Let me just, I want to open the lines, partner.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
I know you're angry. Yes, I know you're angry, but I just want to organize to just open them lines, my brother. Yeah, just play them videos where Cuff work hard, he pop them videos. Yes. Oh boy, so Trinidad and Tobago, as Lennox say again, all I doing is just saying what Lennox say and just want the opportunity. If I understand what he say, to say it. So we just played there the whole discord in Parliament where they're saying that nothing wasn't illegal. But at the end of the day, as Lennox Smith said, it's horse done bolted from the stable. The fact that it had to reach the Privy Council decision says it all. The fact that our own appeal judges in our highest court go alongside the government. That is dangerous. And to see a Privy Council come with this decision, and not one out of we 3 High Court judges saw it. Saw what the Privy Council said. Look, watch how I'm talking now. It means he recognizes and he understands what went on there. Watch how Rowley talking. Elections gonna be called. Alright, by August it should be. It's because he recognized and understood that it was the right verdict. In other words, Almo, Express, the mainstream media, everybody recognize what it is the Privy Council said there. It's the fairest thing. It was the right thing. Deliberated fairly, impartially. They handle the stories. But the question still remains, how come 3 we High Court judges see through the eyes and not one of them see the writing? Look, Rowley, all of them acknowledging now that it was the right thing. And all they never was looking to break no law. And all this, all right, is the right thing? Well, all right, they recognize it's the right thing. But the High Court judges, we 3 of them, which we have to find out who was the 3, deliberated on this.
Appeal court.
The appeal court. And in the appeal court, is not 3 judges?
Yeah, 3 of them, yes. But
good.
The High Court judge, you have High Court judges, and you also have appeal court
right.
judges.
So those appeal court judges, understand what I'm saying, Lennox Smith? The government surrendered, they know they have been defeated. They also acknowledge that that is the best and was the right verdict handed down. They acknowledge all of that. Don't you not find it? No. Very, 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 very dangerous and serious based on the interference of all independent institutions in Trinidad and Tobago by this government, including the Elections and Boundaries Commission, which we telling all in advance. Jump by jump blow. If we don't put we hack together, only them not going and lose the election. They're going and thief. If it's fairly, they're going and lose. But them not going and lose that election fairly. They're going and thief it. They have the EBC. Are going back now to the 3 appeal court judges, which that's supposed to be not Lennox Smith, our highest court of the land when it comes to appeal.
Yeah, that is why they have to act, because they could go nowhere else.
Don't you not find it funny that not 1 out of 3 that gave the government okay, all right, to do what it do, and them still there and them and resign or something yet? You wouldn't believe that showing that that the government have high friends in the judiciary, just as Hines said the criminal elements have friends in the judiciary. Do you not starting to find it feels like that now, Lennox? Because we are saying that.
Well, yeah, since Monday we were examining that and exploring that, yeah, and it's clear. I mean, the judges have themselves to blame if the population sees it that way, and it deals another negative blow on the trust and the faith reposed in the justice system, and brings it into further disrepute, if it was ever in disrepute.
Nice. But here I want to add to it, and then we have to open the lines. The government still, with how that do that day, angry about what went on there. And why I will say that is through watching a video in Parliament and how the Deputy Speaker of the House, witch friend, Bridget, and he said, George, that witch. I don't know where you call he. This Tunapuna MP. He's a disgraceful fella. The Tunapuna MP, how we call he again, Lennox Smith?
That's Ford.
He's a very disgraceful fella.
Ford. Yeah.
Lennox Smith, that man is a disgraceful fella. The government was angry, jump by jump low, and they had to show their anger and their bullyism type to show that they're so vexed that they have to do something that they know they was supposed to do all along. Watch the behavior now. Watch. It always put out the opposition. Always.
By the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs.
Same decorum of House entails, only the Attorney General is recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I repeat, in response to the opposition members' remarks, I responded at the time with reference to documents which had been provided to me and were in my possession in the Parliament during the Standing Finance Committee's discussions.
Standing Order 53-1E, please.
Hoover, South. Could you depart the chamber and return when the Attorney General has completed his explanation? Leave in silence, please. I have ruled. Members, I have ruled. Member, I have ruled. You will return when the AG has completed his discourse. Member for Naparima, I have ruled. Member, I have ruled. Proceed. Member, listen. I have ruled. Member for Couva South, please depart the chamber and return when the AG has finished. In silence. Member for Naparima.
In silence here.
In silence.
Here, the white man, they massa here.
Listen, members, I have ruled. Please have your seat. Please have your seat. Member for Couva South, you're keeping back the discourse.
I know my rights under this standing order, you know.
Go ahead, Lennox. Again, what do you think about that? When it comes to the deputy speaker, point out people. No warning. No. The man want to know on what grounds you point him out. You can't tell the man what grounds.
Ford, in my view, I've never been impressed. Remember, since he lied about he getting the most votes ever in Tunapuna, we had always put a question mark over his head because, of course, his predecessor that was the one when we look at the history. But that being as it may, in that situation there, he couldn't even say on what standing order he was, of course, referring to when he said what he said and got on like a dictator there. When he had several options, he could, of course, suspend the sittings, to the ultimate until things settle down. He could have done that. That was an option. Of course, having regard to the significance of this situation, he must know that the opposition, to use a cricketing term, the tail will be up in the air because they have had a significant victory politically and for the people of Trinidad and Tobago and for democracy. and therefore I would have thought he would have tread lightly and not, of course, try to inflame the situation by putting out a sitting MP in those circumstances. But the dunderhead that we know he is, and of course a person who is beholding to Rowley and for the position that he has, and I suppose what he has been doing is generating the sort of dog whistle type individual that Rowley has surrounded himself with.
Nice. And you did mention why he did that. The opposition tail is high. They're feeling good. They're working via legally. They're working. They're handling the stories. They're victorious. The government looking bad, real bad. So this king, I can't say king thing again. So this Speaker of the House, Deputy Speaker of the House, and knowing that, wanted to in some way beat them down, beat the tail down. Hey, don't play. Hey. Remember you say Lennox Smith, the tail up. The opposition feeling good. Victory. Blood pumping. That move there where you do there, I tell you, I breaking down that grassroots. We got people watching. Remember how I tell you how they like to operate with Indian people? They say Indian people. Just ball at them, just get on. So it was in a way to move like Rowley, when Rowley can't do that in the parliament day. It was to badger them, bully them, beat them down. Why? Don't feel victorious, you know, but without saying that. We still the boss. It's like putting you in place in this kind of way. That's how I watched that bullying, that move by. I know normally when you're playing football, you form a man according to for if something easy. The referee might say, well, play on. If you foul him like hard, based on how you foul him, the referee go say, hey, take a yellow card. But the man's still on the field. And if you come in and foul him again, well then the referee are all right. You fouling people, so the referee do so and say, hey, take the red, get off the field. That deputy speaker, that Ford man is a wicked, nasty man. That man didn't send a warning. No, a one warning. One. The first warning you could have felt that he going one time to, that if I could have see it, that if anybody only talk there again when he talk, the way we get on aggressively, it's pout because he had to show his boss too. Hey, I going down with you, you know. We mean business. I know you're bruised, but hey, I'm bruising them back for you right now. Kuvas out. And on my feet. Kuvas out. Earlier, listen again. Listen again.
Paid by the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs.
Same decorum of the House entails only the Attorney General is recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I repeat, in response to the opposition members' remarks, I responded at the time with reference to documents which had been provided to me and were in my possession in the Parliament during the Standing Finance Committee's discussions.
Mr. Deputy Speaker. Standing Order 53-1E, please.
Hoover, South. Could you depart the chamber and return when the Attorney General has completed his explanation? Leave in silence, please. I have ruled. Members, I have ruled. Member, I have ruled. You will return when the AG has completed his discourse. Member for Naparima, I have ruled. Member, I have.
Go ahead, Lennox. You laughed and saying something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying it was a triple embarrassment for the government yesterday. The Attorney General was there not only to back Rowley and the admission that they infringed the law, that they I wouldn't say it is an error that they attempted to try to postpone the election because of the leaks that they got in Tobago, etc., and their political stocks. But it was, he had to apologize. He was apologizing to Saddam Hussein because Saddam Hussein has raised a matter on the adjournment. I don't know if it's the adjournment, but of course, of privileges. That is, he lied to them in the parliament some time ago. So he stood up now to apologize. He, Amor, stood up now to apologize and say that he was inadvertent, meaning that by accident he had the wrong documents and he was reading from the wrong thing and he gave the wrong information as to how much money lawyers got from the Attorney General's department. That was the essence of it. So he stood up there for that. And then Ford, I don't know if in a bout of what I consider to be intellectual deterioration, but simply in a situation like that, tell a fella to go out when, of course, there is a double whammy here in this particular case. One, the government had to come and say and agree with the opposition that they were wrong in the matter of postponing the elections, and then the Attorney General had to come now and apologize to another member of the opposition. So probably Ford couldn't take that. So that kind of probably overwhelmed him.
Yeah.
Decided to,
if I like Naboy, I tell you how they think it. If I like Naboy, them Indian it we hard in this parliament, you know. We can't have we people watching, we taking this kind of licks, you know. Remember we stronger, you know. Remember when we ball at them, they spread the tail between the leg, you know. Wait, but look the tail up. Oh, Naboy, Rowdy can't handle it. Oh gosh, look, AG can't handle it. They can't.
A world that requires brain power, not muscle power.
Let me rough them up now.
Something like Sergeant, who was called, what was called him? Plenty brain, but plenty muscle, but no brain.
Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo.
Well, so, Johnny Bravo, they plenty muscle, but no brain. But Ford has never impressed us, really, having light us on the campaign trail on the last election, the last national elections.
Ford, I ain't gonna lie. Ford really was feeling sorry for them. He see how it was looking. He didn't like how the tails up, and it's all them apologies that had to go on there. And watching Rowdy and them doggy ears down. Ford decide, let me pull them up a little bit. Remember, come out the chamber. When the LG don't talk, you go come back in. You know, I say, look, the ego bruised. It hurting them. The bruised. Well, let me go to the lines. Let me go
and Kamala Prasad Bissessa, you know, outdid herself as well. You know, she was very aggressive in the parliament yesterday as well. Oh, let me just tell you the names of the judges that announced on this particular matter. In the low court, it was, when I say low court, the lower court in the first instance court, Justice Jacqueline Wilson. She, of course, agreed that the government did the right thing in postponing the elections. And then, of course, you had the appeal courts judges, justices, of course, Justice of Appeal Prakash Munsai, Gillian Lockie, and James Aboud. So the three judges.
Wait, Gillian Lockie agreed to that. How she always portrays herself. There's Gillian Lockie. Like a honorable woman, like a woman that believe in people, believe in democracy, believe in the right thing, and she deliberated that the government right so Gillian Lockie will have this thing looking now. She's to me now. Those three, call the next one because they are done. There was school. There was
Prakash Musai, Gillian Lockie, and James Aboud.
James Aboud. You always used to, but I understand it now, Mr. Aboud. All I suppose I been straight. You three judges, and we'll keep calling your names. Supposed to be ashamed of yourselves, Jared. Ashamed of yourselves. I believe because of the Privy Council overruling you all your belief that you all was not fair and partial.
Andy, what is most bizarre? I mean, people think or think. The Attorney General in his initial public statement on this matter said that the three judges and two of the Privy Council, put them in the same category and say that they agreed with the government, to somehow mysteriously say, well, listen, they were on the right path. Of course, that is only for the dunderheaded and the sycophants and those who cannot assess. But certainly that is incongruent. But if you mention that as Attorney General, it means therefore you're trying to defend the local judges. It's obvious. And guess what? Rowley did the same thing in the Parliament yesterday. Say that the local judges is only when they went to the Privy Council that the thing reversed. But all the time, the lower court, the first instance court, then the appeal court was agreeing with the government, and only when they went to the Privy Council. That is irrelevant. But the idea is to
clean up the judges and them for embarrassing themselves.
I rub your back. You rub my back in the past, so I rubbing back your back. That's what that suggests, and therefore, of course, it has credence for. But he didn't complete. It had credence for what the Minister of National Security said, and that is that it appears that government has friends in the judiciary.
Right, and call the friends, because watch, a verdict, the highest court of the land, Lennox Smith, put on a verdict. It is what it is in black and white. It are not dice it, right?
Yeah.
You telling me with that, the Prime Minister and the AG doing we exactly what it is this same Prime Minister and the former AG did in defending the former president. How will they be defending the? Remember, them was wrong to be defending the former president and the president this when the impeachment based on what she had to do. And the fact that all they could come out to try to clean up those three judges, it shows that you all are defending the three judges misinformation, but not misinformation, but misjudgment, or they're trying to defend the higher court, schooling these three judges and letting them know in all their legal terms that why all they're wrong big time. The right is the people on. And then all they come to defend these three judges. These three judges must be shamed.
Well, sir, Rowley went and defend not just three, four of them. He said, I mean, these fellas and them believe that people are really fools in this country, He said that on the first occasion, they agree. That is, of course, Justice Jacqueline Wilson. And then on the second occasion, you have, of course, Prakash Musai, Gillian Lockie, and James Aboud. So he said, and then of course two judges in the in the Privy Council agree with them, and it's only making it look as though it's no big thing. This is significant. This is a government that attempted to usurp and undermine the democracy of Trinidad and Tobago. That is what it has to be, and I'm saying so very passionately, I will get an opportunity, I'm sure, maybe during the course or another, to say why.
So,
because of my involvement in the 1990 coup and the results of it, and we went to the, in short, we went to the Parliament and cleaned out the Red House in defense of our democracy, and people trying to usurp by violence, and then you could come now. To me, I tell you flat. To me, what Rowley and them try to do is to generate a palace coup without any violence. Abu Bakr and them did it with violence, but Rowley and them try to do it without violence. It's a good thing we have appeal court of the independent nature, quite in England, that of course put down a judgment of this nature in defense of our democracy and our constitution and the right for people to vote and choose their leaders.
So Trinidad and Tobago, why I'm carrying you all on this journey of information is now to carry you all now to the elections back then, whereby we same appeal court say, oi, the EBC wrong, but yet still, meaning a man for start. We all know when you start a race, you have to do the race over, you have to organize. You must do over the race. Not say after the race done that Bolt would have win anyhow or PNM would have win anyhow. So we goes right back there now to why I'm pinpointing these three judges and what went on there, having the fact as we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to be able to go to the highest court of the land, our Privy Council. Remember now with general elections, Trinidad and Tobago, it can't reach there. It stopped. The buck stops with
the local scenario.
With the local scenario, which boils down to the same. It could be the same Aboud that didn't see what the High Court, where the Privy Council see. Gillian Lucky, who didn't see and didn't find a problem or didn't see that was interfering with our constitutional rights. And that local government is illegal at this point in time. Them didn't see it. Gillian Lucky. So it's who it is again? Gillian Lucky. Gary what Aboud?
James Aboud.
James Aboud
and Prakash Musai.
And Prakash Musai, as Tuna Puna they say, it is Mosaba Indian in between, right? Watch me. So picture now, Trinidad and Tobago. Listen, you know, a general election called 2025. Oh God, boy! Remember we tell all you, them people. If it's a fair election, PNM going lost. Why? The election's not going to be fair. Picture now, the PNM have the EBC. Picture now, the elections end up in a situation like before, and the opposition start to question how we start. And it had to go now, and that's going to determine if our appeal court, Gillian Lucky, let me say, it's them going to deliberate over that in 2025. James Aboud and what is the Indian guy name?
Prakash Musai.
And Prakash Musai, a Muslim. Musai could be a Muslim. Muslim is a way of life. And them had to do the deliberations. What verdict or let's see going and happen? And the opposition can't send it to the highest court of the land. That last decision is based on the appeal court here. Gillian Lucky, James Aboud, and Prakash Musai go have this 2025 general elections in we hand. Think about it. What if we gone? And Rowley them
put yourself in that situation to question their integrity and their possible bias. They put themselves in that. Not one of them could have seen what the majority of the Privy Council saw.
It was breakdown to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Come on, it's your time now. We have been on a while. It's time to open the lines. Understand the dangerousness in it.
Mikey is coming on early because we're supposed to have some announcements to be made, but we want Mikey to lead the way.
Correct. So which boils down, remember, when it's a general election, it had to go back, it means what? EBC. Yes, remember that, Trinidad and Tobago? EBC. Let's go to the
We
line.
are going to tell you what we have been doing to neutralize or to reduce the EBC's what I consider to be bias involvement in this whole exercise, even though they are responsible for the conducting of the elections. But we know that it's much more than that. Having regard to the experience of the people.
What I watching Lennox Smith. What I watching Lennox Smith is we the people of Trinidad and Tobago had to eventually, very soon. Don't wait for 2025 for Gillian Lucky, James Aboud, and Prakash Musai to have to deliberate over we life, and if Rowley and them get the next 5 years to make 15 years at this man, we go dead. You understand? So in order for we to do that, it means we the people of Trinidad and Tobago, knowing that we are already aware that the government have judges in high places too. Just like how Heinz say, the bandits, the criminal elements have friends, judges in high places. Remember that. So we now will have to take that fight to where the EBC itself eventually Understand? Putting them on guard that we are watching while asking the Prime Minister, I want to say the government, the Prime Minister to bring Commonwealth observers. We want the British people out there to come down. We want the CARICOM observers at all, that friend and them. All of them is friends.
Of course, I could tell the people that we have already written to the Carter Foundation, the former president of the United States. He has a foundation that looks at and monitors elections across the globe. I had a correspondence, I think, only this week. I think it was about Tuesday from them. So
still not your call. It's still not your call.
We are preparing ourselves for that kind of inevitability. Of course, Dr. Rowley has said, and that's the only reason why a major reason why he conceded, and that is though badmouth the country. But he was writing to the Commonwealth Secretariat and CARICOM in 2015 saying that Kamala Persad-Bissessande will thief the election,
Lennox.
and that she's guilty of attempting to kill a journalist, and therefore their quest to stay in government is one that could also be violent. Just imagine that. And it turned out to be a total lie.
At the end of the day, it is still, although Lennox Smith write to whoever he could write to, Kamala could write to whoever she want to write to, it boils down, if Dr. Rowley don't want no observers, there's nothing. And remember, them brothers only going with what is legally. As they say, they could quit themselves from Parliament 90-something times and whatever, and there's no morality in this. So that call is still up to Dr. Rowley to call for whatever foundation. It's up to him. We can write God and all, and if Rowley don't want God to come and observe, nothing to bind him from saying no, other than the public will just watch at him fishy. But he don't care. He have a government to win. He don't intend to make no jail. These boxes must be towed by policemen. A policeman, and we know it are road clubs. A police unit toting these boxes in the marginal seats. I just get all that story. I'm not saying that. I just get all that story how easy it is. Besides in the special voting. Besides the special voting, where they're going to vote apart that. This government going to vote apart that. So besides the special voting, they will also put things in place, what various stops for boxes to be picked up, laced with extra votes in favor of the government. All right, how it's possible? Again, I'm just giving you all ideas. You have to have the police on your side. You have to have the EBC on your side. And Rowley have both of them. Understanding of Trinidad and Tobago. Them ain't go get catch, hardly likely to get catch anyhow. Even if it's suspicious, nobody can lose the work on suspiciousness. A police officer might be taking home like $500,000 when he done also. This government know if they lost, them are jail to make. They have a budget, and plus they borrowing money at 60 billion and over. If in various areas it have 4 police moving, yeah, I just saying that how big I thinking it way. And again, each police by 4 at 2 million. Pay a blind eye, and whoever is the chief police there, the bigger police who in charge of them, giving them the instruction, you get he 5. I don't care. It's not my money anyhow. It's the government money. Well, it's we money. So right, them 4 police take a 2 million each. Plus, all they still are when they retire. All they have to do, stop. At this point, well, the headman police go let them know what time it is. Just play a blind eye. They yours, they yours. They will make sure to put the police together accordingly. The big man gating, and then when it comes into elections and all, that will go on in most of the areas that they believe is needed, because them brothers didn't want to make jail. It is easy like that. Again, for clarity's sake, and for not that or nobody wanting to be on we. I was just explaining something. I'm not saying that the government will do that. Rowley is an angel.
It's a hypothetical scenario, an assumption to show reason. Hypothetical.
Right. Me saying that at all because remember earlier Rowley and his government is angels. Them do thief. Them is a democratic government. Them do hold back elections and have a Privy Council telling them the wrong. Hey, you have to call the election within a timing. Remember them clean, you know. Them fellas don't do no wrong. So that is why it was just a hypothetical, as Lennox Smith say. Yeah. So all of the lines up now. So watch at it. And remember, as I told you all, EBC. We can't wait till after Rowley and them had two. Remember that, EBC. It is very important.
And here,
morning, caller.
Concerted effort on the lines. Good morning. Good morning.
Go back where they were talking about the 2015 elections. I want to praise Ivor Archie on one ground. Donald Powell tried to say the UNC will have to prove that would make a difference the extra hour. Archie dismissed that as hogwash and simply said it was illegal, but I ain't doing nothing about that, and even it just so. So you have to pat Archie on the back for that. In this situation, yes, he stay clear this stupidness. The Big Aboud, James, is chair them, The Big Aboud and two second-rated judges, General Lockyer and CCB, involved in that stupidness, you know. Or they'll go there and talk all their nonsense. So the mere idea that Archie keep out that alone should let the whole of Trinidad know. Look, if justice ain't getting involved in that nonsense, you know, he ain't taking all this idea at all. Because he ain't going to make himself look like a damn fool, right? Like the next two, the three of them. The next thing I want to say, and I always tell you this, Lennox, this is a government that always going backward. You hear about yesterday? That man going back to NER and all kind of stupidness, boy. They won't come for recently, former Australian captain Ian Chappell rated Gary Sobers, not Georgia, and Rohan Kanai as the two batsmen he ever seen in his life, and he was a great batsman too. And if they bring them two fellas to show this PLM government how to come forward like in cricket, they can't accomplish this either. They're too far gone far backward. They can't come forward at all, Lennox. They're living in the past and the country is suffering for it. We ain't going no place because they can't play with the come forward at all. They can't play the forward defensive shot at all. So we are well, what to call it, boy, a situation. It's only Kamala could take you out in and Lennox, you play some good thing to you and Andy to Kamala this morning. All of these idiots will be talking, you are seeing doing this, they come in and they get on. Do not get done. You're winning them in the legal department, man. You're going to beat them in the court. And Andy, they can't even no election is wrong, you know. The whole world watching me here, boy. They can't even not. And they're going to have to bring the foreign observers. Thanks for the call for all fellas.
They don't have to. Remember that. Again, if I was wrong, Lennox Smith would have said, well, Andy, you're wrong. It's up to Rowley. Nothing.
Well, yeah, but it's a hypothetical situation that is real. That he can wish how much he wants, but he will have to because of the international discry and the isolation Trinidad will get as a consequence. So he will have, because remember the opposition will not, in all practicality, the opposition will not, of course, lie hand tied behind the back and let that happen. So
nice.
So that is closer to reality.
And Justin Tim, you banned for life. And anytime Lucy and any one of you all start to get out of hand and incriminating people in them kind of way, all you gotta go to never to return on Real Media TT, on Facebook, no on YouTube. You Justin Tim. Let's go to the lines. Ban for life. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, morning Trinidad and Tobago, morning Andy, morning Lennox, Moruga the Bellman.
Good morning.
Now, I talking from personal experience. Me ain't talking from where I read. I want to paraphrase something this morning. I was in the parliament, you know. I ain't talking about people tell me, Lennox, I was in the parliament in 1987. You ever hear of the word Wajang? Lennox, remember this word, Wajang behavior?
Yeah.
That word came from Mr. Manning. Wajang behavior. I'm trying to paraphrase the man. I was there. With tears in Mr. Manning's eye. I don't want people tell me. I tell them about what I see. Here, Mr. Manning, I'm trying to paraphrase him. I see hate. I see bitterness. Animosity. I see a man totally out of control. The minute you oppose him, my very strong friend, he get angry. You see that word? He get angry, and he become a raging bull. I watched the parliament yesterday, Channel Parliament, and I see Rowley. Lennox, the only thing that man didn't do left to do was to use obscene language as a curse. The man he went, you know, the man, I can't get what to express the man, how the man, action. The man is an old man, and next again too, we have to understand, Rory is an old man, Rory is an old man. You're suffering with your nerves. Give the younger people a chance. Let them try to do what they have to do in Trinidad and Tobago. Look, Lennox and them, Andy, all these young people, all these people supposed to get the chance. Old man, move from there and let the young people take over the country. We must have one or two are the elders to guide, but move from there. The man becomes a raging bull, a Wajang behavior. He and the man who in charge there, you understand. So this is the situation today where we are. He lose control. If he was a young man there in 1987 when I was there, and he lose it now, he's an old man now. He lose control. Trinidad and Tobago, the problem is the PNM. And until we move them from there, we're going to see a change in Trinidad and Tobago. Have a blessed day.
Hey. Oh boy, if me in love Miss Santa Cruz, Anna and Sammy, I did, yes? Oh God, oh God. Thank you, Bellman. You know, like she's a fighter, you know. She like me, so long she believes she right, so long she do shit and she right. She just stand up strong for what she believe in, you know. Ain't frightened, you know. Although, yeah. Although she say, well, don't say Indian weekend. I must say, that is how. Miss Santa Cruz to me is a bad Indian, but I like she, boy. Yeah! Ain't taking no rough up from nobody. Ain't paying cheating between all. Again, I'm not saying that anybody else. I just having this conversation between me and Miss Santa Cruz alone. Right? Because again, I had already apologized. And as I say, I will never say Indian weak or belly yellow or them kind of thing. I ain't gonna say them thing again. Always strong. Real strong. And all they have different ways of fight. All they have different ways of fighting. Such as the Privy Council verdict and thing that was handled down with local government and other ways now. Right, let's go to the lines. The lines are open. Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from? What's your contribution in the Ground Report this morning?
Yeah, morning, and you hear me? Hello?
Yes, loud and clear. You hear me loud and clear.
Yeah, I hear you, but watch. Only me and Mama guy in Santa Cruz, eh? And don't play only telling me, keep moving straight because she go come at me too. Me and she, this how we battle, lead that. When I feel I right too, I just battle she back. When I wrong, I just put my tail between my legs. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah. Yes, and lead. And the Bellman morning. Yeah, Lennox Smith, Mikey K and Cuff. Now, Bellman, and you know what you miss out there? Now, the late Patrick Manning tell this man, if you want to keep bullying as the order of the day, you got to form your own cabinet and have your own cabinet to have bullying in it. Not in my cabinet, man, and tell that man that man is a bully in the parliament. The man is bully conversation through. I listened to that whole meeting they were talking about. We were debating here recently. I sit down home and I watch that, like this man body language, the man behavior. And let me tell Trinidad and Tobago something. I hope I'm coming across clear.
Yes,
so
yes.
If this man so close to an election to know if he's going to continue seeing about our affairs and his arrogant intake and nosedive at all of them, the nosedive, they didn't take no nosedive, they're moving pompous and high and talking down and get. What is all the plan? They put off the local election for that time. Then I said, they didn't put it off because I have to call it, but I want to tell him, the ground will still be the same way. It will be the same. Everything, nothing will change. Because if you all arrogance in going down, in discussing in the parliament with the opposition, remember we paying opposition and government, you know. We all salary coming from us. And if one side have an argument and you have to give them the speaker, I just be shocked. I just feel so bad watching the parliament channel to see how these people getting about. You know what waiting on? I'm waiting for when government change to see if that behavior will ever raise an ugly head in the parliament of Trinidad and Tobago by any politician. You see what the PNM doing? That is an example of what not to do in our parliament and in our country, you know. They have a
Thank you, reporter. Cause you're kind of breaking up now, real bad boy. Being honest here. Oh boy. Lennox Smith. Hey. What we just call them so? Remember we talking grassroots talk right now. We talking how it is in the communities, how they go talk. When you bounce up our East Indian brothers and sisters that we say that live in Laventille. Remember there are some who live in Laventille, who live in Dego and wherever now. Boy, we home used to call them, I don't know if all used to call them the same way. When you bounce up them so you're smiling, you're saying, what boy? When you ball that one and putting the tail between the leg, boy. We used to call them an Indian. We know the rest. An Indian. I say, hey, that is a dread an Indian boy. Yeah. How I used to call them ones who ain't taking no bullying and standing up. Right? Like how Santa Cruz is it. How I used to call them in all the neck of the woods there in Laventille.
Well, I have had encounters with some, observed some and so on, but having grown older, I would say that they have become Laventilized.
So that's a Laventille Indian, yes. Laventille Indian different.
Yeah.
And they go Indian different. They facts, you know. Serious, you know. All you believe it or not believe we, you know. When you go, it's different. All right, let's go to the lines.
Yeah, they're aggressive and similarly, you know.
That was the next term, too.
And you find them regularly attacking the police.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, and in prison as well.
Yeah. When they bounce about Laventille Indian, I think that what they used to call it in truth, a dread one. Yeah, Laventille Indian, boy, them different, boy. What? Everyone will pass by them so and say, hey, them, who you talking to? Hey, and them running in, you know, them, who you talking to? We used to be like, boy, on the block, we laughing like, oh, shucks, hey. Don't go wrong that one, boy.
They know they had to prove the assaulter.
Yeah, that's the proof.
So there's overdo it.
Yeah, boy, the bad boy, what? When they realize...
they become the leader and all of that.
Yeah, boy, yeah. Them Laventille Indian different. I like that, and it's good. This was good too. They only learn something else. Only have to learn how the East-West corridor, especially PNM voters, how they think. So we gain only in more and more, right? Let's go to the lines. Morning caller, where are you calling from? What's your contribution on the Gong Report this morning?
Morning, Tagaigua.
Go ahead, Tagaigua.
Manning could have fired Rowley. Why he didn't do it? According to Rowley, they have secrets for each other and they discover for each other. And if you let all these secrets, they kill you politically. But Manning could have fired Rowley. I remember when Manning tell Rowley, and nobody $10 million. After that, you ain't hearing nothing. So, it's the same khaki pants with Manning, and so don't worry with Manning. Yeah. And Fali.
Let me hear what you had to say about Fali. That's the first time I hear you calling Fali. Let me hear.
Fali say he's a what? A crime.
I hear what you say.
Where this zip line and all that, all these
I hear
crimes.
him, you know.
You ain't hearing him?
Zip line and all this.
Yes, I hear him.
Fali
Fali
is a total waste, young. Tobagonian should shoot you with. Yes.
Fali's a waste of time. Wow. Look, somebody else saying it. Waste of time. He weak. He too weak.
Yeah, but in the case of Rowley-Manning relations, you know, Manning thought he could have control and manipulate Rowley. That was what has happened. He was. Remember, he was the Rottweiler. He was supposed to be the attacker. He was to be the infantry, the man on the ground. But eventually, he had his own ambition. And when he saw that Manning was weak, he decided, of course, to make a play on him. And of course, it turned out to be what it is today.
Yes.
In more ways than one, yeah. And of course, he was aided by Manning getting sick. I think if Manning wasn't sick, it might have been a different
ball game.
Yeah, there would be a further fight from within.
Manning would have looked to take back leadership.
Manning throwing the towel because he simply could make.
Go ahead, caller.
Morning, Andy. Good morning, Lennox. Morning, Diego.
Yes.
Mr. Malabar here. Lennox, you're correct here. 100%. At that point in time, Rowley was a trump. He was one of the 8 cards in the PNM artillery. Right? That Manning used to use him as a frontal attack on the opposition. That was the pit bull, the Rottweiler. He was the man. Right? So he was more or less putting up with the attitude. If you look at it from then to now, I think it was somebody asked why it is this man arrogance hasn't dipped. It wouldn't dip, and for several reasons. One is his allegiance is not to the PNM. Rowley's allegiance is not to no PNM, is not to the party. Otherwise, Rowley would have never did what he did under Patrick Manning to bring down the PNM administration. His allegiance is to one set of people in this country, and we know who it is. That is Rowley's allegiance. The second reason is that EBC in the back pocket. Look who controls the EBC. When you remember, he went in to talk to and had a discussion on the election to the former head of the EBC. The man have the EBC in the back pocket, so he's arrogant. You know that here what's up, no matter what I do, I could keep this election, right? Another thing is his age. Where's Rowley age? You feel Rowley care about politics? You feel Rowley care about Trinidad and Tobago? You understand? Rowley has made all the millions, building the big house, have his empire. He's set for life. He don't care if he lose the election tomorrow, and he don't know that, look, I had the EBC in my back pocket, so I could do what I want. And the other reason is that he have the minds of the people and the supporters of the PNM in his possession, so he could do what he wants. He will still have his support base. They will still come out and vote for him. They will still speak highly of him. They don't care about the children. He is more important than the children's future. He is given higher regard than the wives and the husbands and the children and the fathers. He knows that. So his arrogance wasn't at all. You understand? Because look at back. Rowley was fired and put in the backbench for what reason? Rowley, all you forget is Manning went to the country and get a call over. All you forget it? Eh? And he got a call because he was abusing his wife and the same Marlene and them and abusing them, and they refer to him as a washer. And Patrick Manning had to come back and say, hey, this is the final straw that break the camel back. You understand? And fire him up, put him in the back bench. And that he made a decision, he'll bring down the government, even if he had to go Leketo for Patrick Manning. This is the kind of man who running this country. His arrogance wouldn't change. And look at it, it is filtering down to every other minister in his cabinet, even to the Attorney General, who has a responsibility, two roles towards the government, and he has to act in the interest of the people of this country. But which one does he choose? He chooses to support and defend the government wrongs and illegal actions since the man coming into office. That is all he has been doing, lying and defending wrong. He don't care about his reputation. It's the same like it. All of them just following. It's the same example, boy. It's like he rubbing off on all of them. Every one of them is the same thing. And what is full in this country is not so much at them and not so much at Keithrow, because you can't change them. Them can't change. He will remain so. But you see the people of this country who continue to support that nonsense, who understand the history of Dr. Rowley and what he gives, who understand that Patrick Manning stood up in Parliament on 2 occasions, talk about his behavior and also talk about his strategy to bring down the now government is the same strategy using today. Attack the leader, bring down the leader, discredit them. You understand? Even email gate here. But that is not the biggest issue. I continue to say the biggest issue is the mentality of our people in this country who prepare to put the PNM and Dr. Rowley in higher regard than the children and the children's future and our history and everything that we have built in this country. It is time that our people put country first. That's what we need to do. Have a good day, blessing.
Thank you very much. Oh boy. Debbie said in her area, they call it a no-nonsense Indian. That's good. So see, we learning. Darrow said in the area, which is people with like Miss Santa Cruz, they'll call them a red belly Indian. Wow. Understood. Let's go to the lines. Morning caller, where you calling from?
Andy, hello?
Go ahead, Miss Santa Cruz.
Hello?
Go ahead, we hear you.
Andy, it's almost 10 minutes I'm holding on for you.
Oh, go ahead.
Anyway, Andy, good morning to you, Lennox, Mikey, Cuff, and to everybody out here. I want to congratulate Mr. Malabar. I want to tell you who his allegiance is to. Is Emily Elias. Because we remember when he stood up in Parliament and he talked about the NAPA building. And then after now, you remember in 2009, Lennox, when he made that speech about how many jobs drop on the Princess Building, and then he tried to throw in a few constituents that didn't get any job. And then Imbat came after him and told him the exact reason why he was behaving like that is because his friend Emily Elias did not get the contract. You understand? And before I go any further, I want to tell Barry Boudram something here this morning. Just as how the PNMites was taking everything from Kamala and then cussing Kamala, I will do the same thing. I am a citizen of this country that paid my taxes, worked in the private sector.
Yes.
Right? And if I am drawing a pension now, I am entitled to it. Just as how your family join a pension and they are not even entitled to it. I work hard to help build this country. I pay taxes. And I am going to do just like the PNMites. Battle Kamala and take everything that Kamala was giving them. So if you have a problem with I talking Rowley on one side of my mouth and then taking my pension on the next side, that is my business. That is what I am entitled to.
Yes, right? You are entitled to
Rowley,
that.
That's right. And Rowley.
Go ahead. We kind of lost in you. Right, go ahead. And Rowley what?
And Andy, I want to ask.
Wow. That's not.
Look at what it is he said here this morning. And next thing, Rowley talk about hello?
Yes, we hear you. We hear you there now again.
Yes. Rowley talk about he lead this country with dignity. What? There's no dignity in lying. There's no dignity in lying. Right? You sat down in Parliament yesterday next to Lymore, the next one, and chewing your cud like a cow. Right? That is dignity. The speaker didn't see that. You ever see anybody on the opposition bench just sitting down there and chew like a cow? You have no manners where his honey goat video was eaten? Now have this man get done, then you're going to stand up and tell Mrs. Prasad to stop writing people all over and damaging the country. No, Rowley, you did that damage. Mrs. Prasad didn't do it. It's you did it. He forget that when he was opposition leader, he wrote several countries, the Netherlands, England, all over the place, right? About Mrs. Prasad corrupt government. So she must sit down and watch you run this country corruptly. And she must say a word. No, we are all behind her with all the letters that she's writing. And if you don't like it, you know what you can do. Call elections and get out of office.
You're gone.
And you did not even know that there was 500,000 vaccines circulating in the region. It's Mia Motley have to tell you. And you talking about what it is Kamala writing people and telling them. He forget that we have ambassadors in this country, you know. He forget that, and they're watching their advisories and they're watching Rowley's behavior. So when you say what to blame Kamala, look in the mirror and see who's supposed to take the blame. Thanks a lot, Andy, and have a good morning.
Thank you very much, oh boy. Nice. We go for a quick break and come back. When we come back, more right here on the Ground Report while we await Michael Kerr, Mikey K.
With Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith. The Ground Report, the Ground Report.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is not closing down Petrotrin.
The Ground Report, the Ground Report.
I would think that they've been very clear that all the employees of Petrotrin will exit the company. All.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
My parents' generation grew up with Royal Castle. From the first restaurant in 1968, when that distinctive, tempting aroma hit the air, they just couldn't resist. And like never before, fried chicken with a special blend of local seasonings and a one-of-a-kind flavor down to the bone. Today, Royal Castle still have that same delicious taste, and I love it too. The kids can't resist it either. Plus, they have more to enjoy. For me, the Castle is more than just nice food. It's we own, part of me and you, and is the real flavor of TNT.
Sheltec Electronics, Capital Plaza, 11 to 13 Frederick Street, Port of Spain. So you're looking for the best prices in gaming products? Come on down and visit Sheltec Electronics, the gamer's paradise. Get the latest PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch system. Games and accessories. Apple Stream, Roblox cards. Available. Daily clearance items up to 70% off. Pre-order new releases and save 15%. Come on, visit us online at sheltechelectronics.com. Cash in on the bargain. Sheltec Electronics, 11 to 13 Frederick Street, Port of Spain, 627-3757. Cash in on those bargains now.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in here with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Get in gear with an RBC auto loan with zero down, longer repayment terms, and low interest rates. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/gearup. Conditions apply.
That's the sound of your car or truck. That's the sound of your horn. Get in here with an auto loan. RBC makes it easy to get your own.
Drink that's transforming what you expect from a beverage. U-Juice is 100% natural and has the power of red ginseng, turmeric, ginger, and the world's strongest antioxidant, astaxanthin. Your new favorite drink has arrived. U-Juice, en route to the ultimate you.
U-Juice. I'm on my drink, we got a natural boost.
Arima, the Juve Cooler Experience. Arima, Sunday, 18th June 2023. Arima, your robe is your ticket.
More 104.7, the official station for Arimas.
Trinity Lighting, 123 Western Main Road, St. James. Special on LED bulbs. Purchase 4 LED bulbs for $100, get 2 free. Trinity, they stock a wide variety of electrical supplies and specialize in light bulbs and parts for all your residential, commercial, marine, and medical fixtures. Remember, buy 4 LED bulbs for $100, get 2 free. 628-8373 or 622-6935. Check them out on Facebook, Trinity Lighting ETC LTD, or shop online at trinityetc.com. In the Miami area, contact them at 305-354-2033 or 305-932-0727. Remember, Trinity Lighting welcomes you to their main store, 123 Western Main, St. James.
Welcome to M&M Pharmacy. Strategically located next to Eastside Supermarket in Sangre Chiquito, Sangre Grande. For all your healthcare needs and much more, M&M Pharmacy will give you customer service like no other. Your health is your wealth. That's right.
Cooking? Reduce your cooking preparation time with Country Gold Limited dry coconut strips. It's all natural, no additives, ready to use. Just blend. No more cutting your hands trying to dig and chip coconuts. Live a healthier lifestyle with dry coconut strips. Get yours today at all Extra Foods groceries nationwide. Look in the frozen section. Also available at Arthur's Place in Balandra. Country Gold Limited dry coconut strips.
Looking to complete your home or business project? Well, the place is Michelin Hardware. We carry a large selection of roofing and plumbing supply, lumber, steel, water tanks, tools, and more. Get your sand, gravel, sand fill by the bag, yard or load. No one beats our prices. Visit us at M&R Building, number 97, Eastern Main Road, Aruka, or call 646-2144. WhatsApp 327-7761. Michelin Hardware.
96 Degrees presents Ladies in White. On Saturday, May 27th at Moonlighting Pub, Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna. Featuring the master of the old school, Hitman Howie T. I'm on fire. Future Sound. This is not a pet in here, this is Curtis, 96 Degrees. Darling, I feel the disco. And DJ Witty. Prizes for the best dressed male and female.
Johnny, you come inside of this party.
Advance ticket, $80. Available at Bobby's Bar, La Luna's Bar, and Moonlighting Pub. At the door, you pay more. 104.7, the official station. Ladies in White. Saturday, the 27th of May.
Shiny and Ari Restaurant, number 67, Western Main Road, St. James, opposite Standard. For breakfast daily, Monday to Sunday, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. On the menu, sada roti, Friday, roast beef, pie, coffee, tea, Milo, vegetable pizza, pancakes with assorted vegetables. Lunch specials daily from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Chicken pilau, $25. Assorted lunch from $25 to $40. Soup specials and crab and dumpling. Delivery of food available. Dinner a la carte on the pavement from 6 p.m. until burgers, chicken sandwich, hot dogs, fries and chicken, nuggets, shrimp burger, gyros, and anything else you can think about. Call 382-9347 to place your orders 7 days a week.
Free Up Fridays with Eminem and DJ Christian. Live each and every Friday at the Neighborhood Grill and Bar, 143 Seaview, Clifton Hill, Point Fortune. For your reservations, call 352-1727.
Are you there?
Eminem will capture you with her sultry voice, each and every note. Every Friday, it's a movie at the Neighborhood Grill and Bar, Clifton Hill, Point Fortune.
Green Dot continues to deliver internet connectivity to a wide range of communities in Trinidad. With our combination fiber and wireless network, you get the service you need wherever you live. Stream your favorite shows, enjoy online tuition, stay in touch with your work team, and connect with friends and family with internet service at a price you can afford. As communities continue to grow, we continue to deliver. Call 224-GDOT or visit gd.tt today. Green Dot, improving and simplifying lives.
Everybody's idea of home is different, so every mortgage should be unique, shaped around you, flexible to move and change as you do. RBC will come to you to get you started and stay by your side to help guide you every step of the way. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/home story and start your story today. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at RBC Caribbean.
Are you or your company, school, sporting community, or religious group planning an event? Look no further. The Jump and Bump Rental Company is your one-stop event management specialist. Jump and Bump is a full-service events management and marketing company specializing in fun and rejuvenating festivities. At Jump and Bump, our team is innovative and experienced event management professionals focused on taking your event from concept to production. We boast not only the largest inflatables, but also the largest supply of inflatables in Trinidad and Tobago. For more information, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at J&B Rentals.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Disclaimer. More FM Limited, its owners and associates, accepts no responsibility for statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests. More FM Limited does not endorse any of the information provided during this commercially booked segment as the truth. That you have to judge for yourself. We, however, reserve the right to question statements made. But in this time of misinformation, government-controlled media, and corruption, it is sometimes hard to get the truth. But we must try. It is not our intention to discriminate or annoy anyone. We believe it is our constitutional right to free speech, to voice our opinion, and our duty to the population and country to expose the truth. More FM Limited takes no responsibility for the opinions of others.
6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Join Andy Williams, Michael Kerr, and Lennox Smith, the Ground Report team on M1047, as they rip apart the lies, half-truth, and misinformation that the mainstream media never discuss. The Ground Report. Hard-hitting, informative, undiluted, uncompromising, and unfiltered. Monday to Friday on M104.7 FM. Get the raw facts before making any life-changing decisions. Only on The Ground Report.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We are back, we are back, we are back. Time check. It's approximately at 29 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. Listen to the Ground Report. Yours truly, the pitbull of radio, Lennox Smith, Michael Kerr, Director Cuff, and you the people out there in your thousands of thousands. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Morning, caller.
Morning, gentlemen. In response to reporter, they don't have to humble themselves where election is concerned, you know, because they learn the art of winning elections. When you have an MP being escorted before 6 o'clock into the voting in the polling station, you need to wonder why. When the votes, the early votes had already been tallied up and there was one figure, and then the day of counting, the figure change. When you can find ballots in a toilet paper factory that they finance to keep going. When in La Hoqueta in 2015, all of a sudden the lights went out, and by the time the lights came back, the PNM was ruling. So we have to make sure that there's security, you know, that we have observers and everything else to make sure that they don't do these things in order to win, because they have learned the art of winning an election.
Thank you very much, caller. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Next caller. Morning caller, where you calling from? What's your contribution on the Ground Report this morning?
This is Jimmy.
Jimmy, go ahead, Jimmy.
Jimmy from New York.
Go ahead, Jimmy from New York, my brother. Go ahead. Jimmy Ramker. Ramkri?
Sinat.
Oh, Jimmy Sunat.
Sinat.
Oh, Jimmy Sinat. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I used to be the leader of a band called Trevani Brass.
Okay.
Yes, back in the days. Yeah, listen, yesterday I was very much taken back by some knowledge that you impart onto me, and I was like so shocked. I often wonder why it is that places like Laventille, Beetham, and those rundown areas continue to vote for PNM. And I thought it was some kind of psychological problem. And then I realized that there was the technique used that you mentioned, and that was the PNM to make the black hate Indians. And the Indians did not do them anything. So I was wondering, well, and you put that to me yesterday, what did the Indians do to the blacks? But you know what is amazing is the fact that PNM Rowley has a lot of Indian people surrounding him. And the PNMites will not say anything about those Indians. And those are the Indians who are persecuting the black people and having them in the situation that we are in Trinidad and Tobago. So this is kind of confusing for me. Why it is that they don't understand what is going on in this country? I'm amazed. I'm amazed because I mean, Indian people never did black people anything. And it's just a psycho thing that these people are using. And you know what it is, Andy? This is actually the most important fact, or let's say issue or situation. You can disband every other thing in election, or say in Trinidad and Tobago. You can get rid of all the other points. The reason why we're having this problem, and you brought it up, it was amazing. The reason why we're having this problem in Trinidad and Tobago, it is because the blacks are thinking that the Indians did them something or doing them something.
You understand that very important topic yesterday that was raised. That have to continue, you know. That have to continue. But it has to.
It's the most important topic. I think it's the only topic that should be talked about right now, because that's the only winning point that the PNM has. Listen, PNM has no other winning point except that winning point to make the blacks feel the Indians doing them something. No, we are all called Trinbagonians. There's no black and Indian where that's concerned. It's about everybody coming together to support the welfare of the country. And the whole thing is about, let's say an Indian doesn't want their daughter to marry a black man. That is their choice, and that should be accepted. Or a black man don't want an Indian to marry his daughter. That's okay.
But Jimmy, that don't happen in Trinidad anyhow too. Remember, Indian married in African, African married in Indian. We are real Douglas. So that is a valid point and all way. We don't have stopping marriages. It's up to somebody if they want to, if they don't want to. Go ahead with it then. Go ahead. You go ahead.
And this is what the young people who are going to vote now, the 18 years, got to understand. There's no more barrier. There's no more barrier, right? There's so much successful marriages between black and Indians in Trinidad. There's no more barrier. So they have, listen, you're gonna continue driving. And Andy, you actually opened my eyes yesterday. You have to, listen, that's the only reason why PNM win in the election. The only trump card they have is to let the black people or influence them psychologically that the Indians are doing them something. Yet, Rowley has Indians running his cabinet who are persecuting the black people. If I would leave this with you, and this comes from my heart, Andy. If I was the Prime Minister, I'm Indian. If I'm a Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Laventille movement would have changed. Right? They would have changed. I would have seen them flourish and prosper, and there was not going to be no human being Trinidadian black in Laventille and those surrounding areas who is going to be in those kind of situation, deplorable situation. I will make sure that they come out of that. But the psychology used, and I find that the more you keep back down these people, is the more power you have over them. Is that true, Andy?
Well, that's what the PNM did, and again, that's why they don't like a educated people. They don't like a educated African people. Remember, they don't want to show who is the people really persecuting we, right? Which is really and truly the 1%, which is the PNM financiers. So they can't show them up. Remember, them is in the minority in this country. So in order not to show them up, they have to show up somebody that the people had to watch too. Black people had to watch it and say, hey, it's them fighting all here. When at the end of the day, for the last election and the last two elections, the elections what Kamala lost there, that election was she lost in 2015. That election there wasn't no fight about race and black and this. That fight was the 1%, the minority fighting the Indian them, because the Indians and them are educated. The Indians and them one part of Trinidad and Tobago too. So that fight, when it comes to mainstream media, who is owned by the 1%, was really between the 1% and the Indian people. It never had nothing to do with we the Africans. So they had to put the Africans, and that is what they always does, in order to hide the real people who run in the PNM. So they put the Africans against the Indians by making Africans feel that our deplorable situation, our lack of educating our children, our lack of, all right, become as slaves, right? Become as slaves. We didn't get to come with culture and all those things like how East Indian people did. But they blame, it's like they put them in the psyche of blaming Indians for that too. They must blame Indians because they don't have no land. They must blame Indians for their suffering. That is the mentality, and that is what PNM party did. They start that from since Eric Williams days. When Eric Williams say a Casican minority or something, Lennox Smith, correct me, a Casican something so minority, some Lennox Smith. Wait, you see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah, listen, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
We all established one thing, that the 1% is the people who run in the country. The 1%. Now I want to ask you a question. Who are the 1%? What kind of people are they? Are there any blacks in the 1% except Rowley?
It have real minority blacks in the 1%. The 1% is made up. The biggest pie is the Lebanese Syrian community, the Caucasians and them, the Chinese and them, and yes, plenty more Indians than black and Indians. That's how it go. That's the 1%.
So why? So why these people cannot see this? Why these people cannot see through this? Why is it so hard for these people in Trinidad and Tobago to see through this and stop this nonsense, man? And stop this nonsense.
Understood, Jimmy. So I'm glad that you take it in yesterday. I'm glad it was an eye-opener to you. I hope it was an eye-opener to every single one too. And whoever learning this today, I hope it's an eye-opener to them too. And then always ask all yourself.
I'm coming to Trinidad this year. I want to take you guys out to the biggest restaurant in Trinidad and Tobago, okay?
Partner, I really am willing.
Listen, I'm so proud of you guys being not non-Indians and talking the truth. I'm so proud of you guys bring tears to my eyes, honestly.
Right.
Trinidad is a beautiful place. I want to come back to Trinidad, sir, but I'm not going to come back to Trinidad in the condition under PNM. I long for Trinidad. I cried for Trinidad, but I want to come back to Trinidad. But I'm so glad you guys are doing this program, and it makes a big difference to the public.
Nice, but before you go,
and the security in Trinidad.
Right, and before you go, I know you like how this talk bad manners, and that's what will make other people gravitate to me. I just want to tell you that the lunch offer is not needed. I will rather, if you come Trinidad by then, if I get the two shock, $950 a shock, well then you could sponsor me a shock or two. I'll rather that. After go for is the most important thing that is needed at this point in time.
What shock you want? Let me know. What shock you want?
I pay a shock for Kia. Oh God, we can't beg over radio, so you better you can't have this kind of situation because they go call.
You're gonna get those 2 shocks over the weekend because I'll be back in New York. I'm out in New York.
Well, right, but let me don't talk over it because here what they go do? They go listen there and they go say, see, them 3 African in the watch and watch. They're talking out, and while talking out, the Indian party go benefit, which we not talking about. We talking for the people of Trinidad and Tobago benefit, and whoever come there have to govern us properly. And they're gonna be, you see, and look at talking, and it has so much Indian in UNC, and okay, look at for that, help and leave it too shocked. They're so stupid, they're like bottom. And so let me don't discuss that online. Though let me don't discuss online.
Right, but let me tell you something. Let me leave this with you. Let me leave this with you, Andy. I'm an Indian, right? I mean, I'm not racial. I have no racialism about me. I will tell you something. You see, you, Mikey K, Lennox Smith, I will bow down and kiss all their foot.
Yeah.
And leave that.
All right.
I will kiss all your foot, buddy.
What?
All right?
Continue
the good work, Andy.
What, boy? Well, it's real
Continue
good.
the good work.
Yes.
I will kiss all your foot.
Whoa.
I will kiss all your foot, Andy, because of what all you're doing for Trinidad and Tobago.
What, boy? A East Indian man want to kiss me foot, boy. That's good, that boy. First time somebody tell me something like that, boy. I see an African president kissing Moody foot the other day. You know, in Trinidad here, if we are going to kiss our foot, let me say if Rowley and the PNM will say, look how the kissing foot and they're going to make a whole issue on that. You remember some kiss foot thing to the Bacchanal? Well, you forget that. Then the lines are open. What's on your front burner this morning? So I hope that part was breakdown. Yesterday I didn't break down that part, and which is a fact. And only keep asking yourself, what did East Indian people in Trinidad and Tobago did to you all? Again, what did the PNM tell you all that the East Indian people do you all, which is me too, I African, that we hate them so, or we can't get them a vote, and we agreeing right now that the PNM doing bad, this man is the worst, but yet still some of us go say, well, who we go put? Now I ain't voting PNM, you know, but I ain't voting them Indian too, and them kind of talk. All right, and think back good. What did, when the former government was in power, did you all benefit? Was life better? Ask yourselves. What the PNM told you all that Indian people do all that all you hate them so? And when all you check good, all you go watch. Indian people more than help African people in this country than the 1% that is really the PNM heart and the owners of the PNM. They don't give it nothing, which is the same business sector that Rowley say. Make them rich for them to create opportunities for we. When you make them rich, they're going Guyana right now. You make them rich, you give them all the money, they go on Jamaica, they go on Barbados, they're going all over and getting everybody work. And we, them ain't investing nothing on we. Nothing.
Well, that is so cliche. I'm not really trying to differentiate between the rich and the poor because there's not one which gets a picture. But the poor must come out of poverty. That's the equation. It's not a seesaw where one has to go down the other. No, come on. You have to find a way that you encourage the rich to get richer. Because in getting richer, they create opportunities for the poor. Opportunity.
Understand. Let's go to the lines. So ask yourselves that. It is clear that the 1% of Trinidad and Tobago owns the PNM. At least when it's the UNC, we know the 1% of Trinidad and Tobago don't own we. That election fight and most of the fight, because the East Indian people at this point in time end up the educated people. They're more educated people than us, the African people. We have a lot of African people too that are educated. Come on, we talking facts. It's not about embarrassment or not about no. We must talk the truth. And it's simple to get the truth. Lennox Smith always guide us on all. Just check every CXC exams. Who are the top people? Check who becoming the doctors. Check in the majority who coming the lawyers. Check in the majority who's the professionals. Check it. Are they not given the same opportunity like us, African people? That nothing is stopping we from achieving exactly what them achieve? What they do to us? They take away our education. What they do to us? They have us living hard. What they do to us? They is to raise the food prices or raise gas that cause the food prices to raise. Yeah, them do it, but the ones in the PNM, all of them in the PNM there, them in the PNM there, who them set, you could pinpoint the set who do that. So come on, Trinidad and Tobago, in this coming local government elections and oh God, the general elections. As Lennox Smith say, you all go out, go register to vote. All the young people, go out there. Don't watch set by and watch all the country deteriorate. And when all they educate all themselves, become the professionals, all they have to go leave the country. It ain't no work for all you. That is the place that at this point in time PNM is creating. Stop it, stop it. Get that out. The East Indian people of Trinidad and Tobago never deprive us nothing. What they did stop us from practicing our religion. They tell us we mustn't be Catholic and we must be Pentecostal or Jehovah's Witness or Baptist or they take away we wife or we mother. What did they do that the PNM convinced my people for all these years that have our country so disunited politically? Yes, it's politically, because outside of the politics, our East Indian brothers and sisters of Trinidad and Tobago lives proper, lives well, lives good. We have many intermarriages. We are Hindu married in Muslim married in Hindu and thing now. We are that is just how it is. And the thing that really and truly have us disunited is the elections aspect of our society. And you know what that doing? That point a black eye to all of us. You East Indian Trinidadian, you African Trinidadian, you Douglas Trinidadian. Everybody getting a black eye, blue eye, and continue to have those politicians, and I wouldn't say those politicians, the PNM to continue to divide you all through race and sell to you that East Indian people of Trinidad and Tobago did you all something, so you all can't give them a chance. You all have to hate them, when at the end of the day, the East Indian people of Trinidad and Tobago are the ones that always help out the most. My PNM supporters, I was a PNM, I leave. I don't know part. Especially with this man, Rowley. Now ask yourself this, what's good now? For the past 8 years, you all are going on under sufferation. For the past 8 years, all are getting bruised. For the past 8 years, the healthcare system in a mess. How much your grandmothers and fathers and sisters and brothers need surgery, can't get it. For the past 8 years, we roads bad. For the past 8 years, no job creation. For the past 8 years, the crime situation is out of control. Now watch your government. Watch the leader of your government. Watch his race. Watch his color. Is he Indian? Again, I ask you, my African brothers and sisters, that the PNM continue to put in your head that Indian do all here something. Let me watch right now. Who is leading us? We African brother Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. So now the big question is, my African brothers and sisters, who really doing you, the Indians? Or the man that look just like you?
back.
Ah, boy. It eventually have to be discussed. The race politics in this country that have all our we catching we aunt, uncle, nenen. That on radio, a man at the first things hard. As a man that pride myself in working hard for what I want and not having the opportunities because of how the country is running and the governance of this country. No opportunities, everything, things hard. That openly had to be helped, had to be gifted to have the money to buy a shock. First things hard. Some people go watch that and like that kind of thing. A real man, that is an insult. That is an insult to a real man. Real men don't want hampers. Real men don't want handouts. Real men believe in working for what they want. So every day, somehow or the other, we have to keep a segment for the political race talk. And let's bring truth to what is not truth. What I'm doing here is what the politicians are supposed to be doing. It's what Dr. Rowley, the leader, the prime minister, the head of cabinet, supposed to be doing for our country. Heal it. We all know what's the problems. It's the race baiting, the race voting. For God's sake, unite us. Unite us. But uniting us will be bad for business for all you. Uniting us will be the 1% can take and eat everything like we're getting them now. Uniting us means when we go to the hospitals, we gain the surgeries on time, the roads smooth like baby bum bum. That's what uniting us go do. That's what you're afraid. The agriculture sector will be booming. Uniting us will mean we go start back with refinery, spend the money to make sure we country energy efficient. That's what uniting us will do. That's what you're afraid. Uniting us will make Trinidad and Tobago become a Singapore. That's what you're afraid. So now the time reached where we had to talk it. And my African brothers and sisters, throughout the nook and cranny of Trinidad and Tobago, ask yourself, what have the East Indian people ever did to you that you have to hate them so? What Rowley and the PNM told us all the years, that when we think about it, that is true that they did to us. They take away we land. I asking, they kill we mother. They stop us from educating ourselves. They make we who own the properties and them sell over we properties. Them force we to sell we properties. We was the biggest set of business people in the country. The East-West corridor was majority African people. The Indian them take it from all here. What they did? That we have to continue going down this road. Ask yourselves. The lines are open, the numbers to call. 229-0251, 229-0251 or 239-5120, 239-5120, or give us a WhatsApp call or voice note at 366-3053, 366-3053. The lines are open, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from? What's your contribution on the Gong Report this morning?
Morning, Andy. Lennox, Mikey, Cuff. This is the original Tagarigua. I hate them like how Rowley hate them. I hate them like how Rowley the little girl, no, she wind up on me. That's how I hate them. Stand up and preach and hate. He wind up on the little one. That's how we hate them. I hate them so. And hypocrite. He talk that he don't hate them, but he put in all the, you know, I'm talking black people, I really pay them, all in open all the eye and looking. He sure that he hate them, but he like me with them. You like me with all you want all the wrong, but he hate them. All the clung. All the stay there and take away he dishing out.
Thank you very much. Let's make it short and sweet. Next caller, morning caller. Where you calling from? Everybody ought to be short and sweet. Go ahead.
Good morning, Andy. Tuna here.
Go ahead, Tunapuna.
Now, let me tell you something. PNM has been always using the race card, and I'm going to tell you why. In the days of Patrick Manning, they use, and let me tell you something, all them so-called judges and justice and whatnot and things was always in the crutches of the PNM. Use Justice Hayat Ali, the man that they put in charge of the Election and Boundaries Commission, and he's the man who shifted the boundaries to facilitate the PNM. Gillian Lucky was a talk show host on a program that used to criticize the PN, the government. All of a sudden, they get she silk and she becomes justice. She keeps her blasted mouth quiet. Justice Sebastian Vento with the email gate issue. You see what he did? He lied and then he recludes himself. Justice Stanley John with the firearms unit thing. The investigation into Gary Griffith and all of that. So they use all these people, Andy. This is what the PNM do. So it is no different. They have these Indians and them in their crutches too. I don't make no mince no thing to say about it because I don't consider my blasted self. I have a mix something in me, and I will speak on behalf of the public, of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Now let me tell you something. I watched that debate yesterday in the parliament, and it was the most shameful and disgraceful act. Now, you know why Keith Rowley and them went and called and said they're setting a date for the election? It's because Kamala said that she's going to take them to court. Remember, the Attorney General said that they're going to get legal advice on whether they should adhere to the Privy Council ruling to call the election and whatnot, and the Privy Council never say to call no election and whatnot, but they're going to get legal advice and whatnot. But when Kamala says she's going to take legal action against them, you see how they change the story? And the Attorney General was found lying again. He lied in the parliament when he said that the request by Saddam Hussein, the opposition, to provide a list of funding for those lawyers from the PNM and whatnot. And he said he presented it. He lied because there was nothing ever presented. But hear what he come and tell in the parliament yesterday, that he was given some information from somebody.
Tiny Ari, restaurant number 67, Western Main Road, opposite Standard, for breakfast daily, Monday to Sunday, from 6 a.m.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You have 1 minute again. 1 minute again. Time up in. Go ahead.
What he said that there was given information by some officer of his the Attorney General's office, that which he used. But he lied there again, because he never presented any information as to what Saddam Hussein was saying. When they asked the question, he never presented. So how you could come and tell people now that you, the information that you got is what you presented to the Joint Select Committee? You're lying again. And this man is making this country a shame, a disgrace. And Keith Rowley, you, all what all you're doing to this country, this image of this country, we will be so tarnished and so thing that, and the people will scorn us, you know. Nobody will want to come here and invest in no business here, and no tourists will want to come here, especially when you see we healthcare situation in crisis, we crime situation in crisis and what on, Andy. Who is going to come here? You hear the fella just called earlier on, and he said he would like to come back home. You feel it? There are plenty of people who want to come back home, Andy, instead of saying that suffering in the cold and whatnot. But hear what? People just don't want to come here because there is no way, no avenue that you have job opportunities or anything like that. All these young students and who graduated with degree and whatnot, you see what they have to do? They have to leave this country. And what PNM doing? And Rowley and them just keep coming, playing the race card, lying to the population and whatnot, Andy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tudapuna. Go ahead. Next caller, morning caller. Where are you calling from? What's your contribution on the Gong Report this morning? Go ahead, Never Dirty. Go ahead.
Yeah. I listened to that statement that man just made when he talk about providing opportunities. He encouraged the rich to get richer, to provide opportunities for the poor. Opportunities, and you notice how we stress on that, right? And that is the statement of a slave master.
I should know. Look what we say now. Provide opportunities. That is a very serious word he used, Angel Boy. Wow, that is a statement of a slave master. Yeah.
Of course it is. And what we as a people, we have to look at what this administration or what this prime minister, what pact did he make outside? What did he sign on to? WHO, the UN, what pact did he sign? What agreement did he make outside? Because our country is going straight downhill. You know, the hard thing about it is that, and it's sad to say, but 90% of the population sleeping. 90% is sleeping. We're not aware of the seriousness that's taking place in this place. We're not aware of it, you know. While the other 10% trying to wake them up, 90% sleeping and half all they go dead sleeping, you know. Opportunities. He's encouraging the rich to get richer, to provide what? That's his statement of a puppet master. That's his statement of a slave master. I want this to marinate to a lot of people, you know. Have a good morning.
Wow. Morning caller. Where are you calling from? What's your contribution on the Gong Report this morning?
Morning, Andy. Andy, the Indian god have been quoting the African a long time. From William days, when he built a steel mill for the nation, Mahabir built one for himself. And Kamal and them built a whole state called Mohammedville. Then comes Sukaran's son-in-law, Lenny Seed, gone with the $500 million in the feasible study. Then Sukaran grandson, right? 8 years he suffered black people and again nothing. But 8 years he take to make a billionaire. How the next one named Sinanan a billionaire, Kazim Hussein a billionaire. The short crotch, the white man, a billionaire.
Call him in Bert.
Yes, a billionaire. And in the 8 years he suffer people and he make these. So the Indian gods and them in the PNM, them will go to the black people. Thank you.
Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from? What's your contribution on the Gong Report? And again, the big question, what did East Indian ask yourself with all the propaganda of the PNM from since Eric Williams days to now, putting African people against Indian people? My African brothers and sisters, ask yourself, what did East Indian people in Trinidad and Tobago, and we talking politically, did to you? Did they take away your education? Did they take away your house? What they did to you that the PNM have you hating Indian people so, but the Indians in the PNM real good, and any other Indian not good at all? What they did to you? Go ahead, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I'm a first time caller. I love your show. And since Kamala administration, Rowley come and take over, and it's like it had no change. I crying and weeping for work. I can't take care of my children. It's like, and these young people now waking up to see, and no matter how you talk to them, my father is a PNM till he there and me and he does war. Because at the end of the day, they just talk nonsense in my head from my point of view. Because when all they set that example, what they leaving for the youth to grow up with, them is PNM till they're there, really PNM till they're there. Because look what's going on with the youth now, everybody killing everybody. And it's like nobody not trying to sit down and think and say, boy, is this what we really want? Like, oh gosh, this place in a mess. It's in a mess on the whole. And I'm a Muslim at the end of the day. And I stand for the right thing. And the right thing is Rowley has to go. Rowley has to go. It had no it had nothing to think. It had nothing to sit down and say. Children nowadays is like, it's so much I want to say, and it is like it can't come out for me to say what I want to say because...
Talk from your heart. Just talk from your heart. Talk from your heart.
Since Rowley and them in power, I haven't got a job. When Kamala administration was in power, I worked from day one to the end of her. That is why I could see, and I'm black. My head hard. It had nothing to do with, oh God, Kamala, like what Kamala do on she spare time, that is her business. What Rowley and them doing for we? Nothing. I live in town, I move out from town, and I live in Arima now. What they doing for us? Nothing. Nothing. All the coming up and the talking up and nonsense for people to sit down and listen to. And the other day I went in the hospital. From morning, I reached the hospital, Mount Hospital, 7 o'clock. I had to go in the back, up in the hot sun with my dad who can't even walk properly. He chipped his shoulder, he in pain here, his spine ain't good, he's a pensioner. He work agency for this country. What he gained from them? Nothing. I suffering, he suffering, everybody suffering, and it's like everybody just coming to talk about as a crap. At the end of the day, we need to wake up as a country, as citizens of this country. We need to wake up and say, here what? It's time to smell the coffee. It's time for we to make a change. It had nothing to do with Indian. It had nothing to do with black. It had to do with we as a country standing for the right thing. We stand for the right thing or we stand for nothing. And that is just what it is. Thanks so much for taking.
Thanks so much, first time caller. Music to each and every one of us ears. It will show, it will also show that people mustn't bash people who from Laventille and Beatum and thing, especially young people, and blame and put a broad brush on everybody. The young people in these PNM depressed areas that recognize when we look who really oppressing we is a man looking dressed like we. It's not the Indians. It's not the Indians. And that's why I say that some people must give the people a fair chance, because I know what's a PNM. I learn. Age bring reason. So don't bash the people. Encourage people like how I am doing it in many ways to see throw the right things, and they will eventually come to their own senses, because the young people don't agree with the older ones. My grandmother is 90 something and she's still a PNM. Oh God, I said, Granny, you got dead a PNM? Yes. I said, Lord boy, you go ahead, young. You could make a closing comment, because I see Robert Amar is in the building while he's putting his scenes together. Go ahead, new caller.
Okay, I'm not bashing the young people. What I am saying is I probably bring it across in the wrong content.
Yeah, but you do it good. No, well, that's it. Well, talk to them in the right prospect.
When election reach, we need their votes. We need their votes. The ones who never vote, the ones who say they ain't voted, we need to vote. Because when you ain't vote, where your vote going? This is what we need to ask ourselves. Where it going? If they ain't thiefing, they're thiefing. And it's so they're going. So we need to, as a young people, we need to come out, and whether we don't want to, whether we ain't like it, because we children studying, and when studying, we don't have to go. My daughter does go to pay school. I afraid to send she in the public school because it's so much fight. The reason why I take shots at the pay school.
Nice, you're making that sacrifice. You're trying to say, sending it to your pay school, you do all that, she get educated, and when you watch, it has no way for your child to go.
It has nothing for them. That is why crime rate is so high. Children, them youths want work. If they have work, if they have things to do, things to occupy the time, would they be fighting? Would they be studying to kill each other? When dogs hungry, what do they do? Bite up each other, and that's what's going on. You need to feed them. You need to feed them, and that's not coming under this administration. So when election time reach, I urge the youth of Trinidad and Tobago to go out and vote. Whether all you like it or not, this is to benefit you all.
And before you go, you believe deep in your heart that Dr. Rowley is the problem and he have to go?
Yeah, plain and straight. I don't have to put water in my mouth. And if people coming up to say, no, Rowley is not the problem, they're fake. He is. Because when Kamala was here, I remember seeing Kamala in boots, flood time, walking, helping, doing she constituency, and she moving. You ever see Rowley in a boots? No. You ever see him anyway? No. When it's Ramadan time and it's mustard time, you're in mustard, coming to what? Fake pray. Come on, no. We don't need you. We need you to go. And that's just what it is. Okay then, bye.
Oh boy, I feel good. People listening. People learning. People are being informed. People are listening to other people reasoning. Because teaching comes in various ways. That's why the Ground Report team is dynamic. Mikey have his way and strong in his way. Lennox Smith has his way and strong in his way. And obviously yours truly, the pitbull of radio, has my way, and I'm very strong in my way. And even if I miss somebody, Mikey go pick up somebody, or Lennox will pick up somebody, Robert Amar go pick up somebody, and that's how it had to go. And we had to continue urging each other, encouraging each other, motivating each other, because we have years of fixing to do, y'all. Because it's years, it's a cultural damage that the PNM from Eric Williams coming straight down perpetrate this racial politics thing. Outside of the politics, we are not racial people, but we political. We just vote racial on racial parts, and that have to done. And true leaders will fix it. If they want a better Trinidad and Tobago, a true leader will fix it. Unite people, unite the country. Unite the country and let the country move forward. Let's breed. Coming up next, don't forget tonight, Corridor Transformation, yours truly, Lennox Smith from 8 o'clock. Well, obviously yesterday you all lock on to the Observers with Michael Kerr. Well, you were supposed to come on today. Well, most likely tomorrow he'll be on way, because we have some other letters again to deliver. We have some other letters to deliver. So it's very important. So I hope tomorrow, please God, we hear from yours truly, Michael Kerr. Because again, remember I told you all, everybody have the little problems in a little way, and everybody had to match and make and do. Try to be on the radio, try to do this, then to live. You understand? So bear with his absence. So coming up next, Robert Amar. Today's Thursday. I will say Sense and Sensibility. I will say the Forum. I will say the Robert Amar Show. Either or, the message is the same. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Not Rowley truth, not Rowley whole truth, and not Rowley nothing but the truth. Stay locked on to 104.7 More FM. Until tomorrow morning, please God, 6 a.m. We are out of here.
The Ground Report with Mikey K, Andy Williams, and Lennox Smith.
Disclaimer. More FM Limited, its owners and associates, accepts no responsibility for statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests. More FM Limited does not endorse any of the information provided during this commercially booked segment as the truth. That you have to judge for yourself. We, however, reserve the right to question statements made. But in this time of misinformation, government-controlled media, and corruption, it is sometimes hard to get the truth. But we must try. It is not our intention to discriminate or annoy anyone. We believe it is our constitutional right to free speech, to voice our opinion, and our duty to the population and country to expose the truth. More FM Limited takes no responsibility for the opinions of others.
More FM 104.7 on the move everywhere. Broadcasting live.
Broadcasting live.
From 177 Dragoreed Road. This is More FM 104.7 from every street corner to every block.
Yeah, I hope you're ready for this one.
It's More FM 104.7. Fall in love with radio.
All over again.
All over again.
More FM.
104.7.
Chinese and Ari Restaurant, number 67, Western Main Road, James, opposite Standard, for breakfast daily, Monday to Sunday, from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. On the menu, Saturday roti, Friday, roast beef, pie, coffee, tea, Milo, vegetable pizza, pancakes with assorted vegetables. Lunch specials daily from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Chicken pilau, $25. Assorted lunch from $25 to $40. Soup special and crab and dumpling. Delivery of food available. Dinner a la carte on the pavement from 6 p.m.